Hello, how you doing? Are you sitting and relaxing? I'm on here to do another Aquarius rant. I know I just did one the other day, but I feel like SHIT. I'm going to try not to cuss throughout this live stream, but the chances are slim. And always good to see me. Well, I'm happy to feel loved. I'm literally waiting for the health of the live stream to correct itself. It's always in the red. And this live stream, I'm going to be negative. Oh, yeah. Those words I'm definitely going to use. I can probably show this. I didn't say it. That was you. But I feel like crap. I really do. I want to cry. I try to be so brave. So this live stream is just a complaint. It is a complaining. Oh, just a complaint. Just what's another word for a complaint? Let me look up where my thesaurus at, because I just want to cry. I wish I could just tell y'all. I wish we lived in a world where I could be totally transparent, but we don't. We don't. It's so much to complain. Let's see. Okay, these are all the synonyms. This is how nerdy I am. This is all the synonyms for complaint. Hopefully the laptop don't freeze up on me. Maybe. It says having some performance issues, so we'll see. These are all the synonyms for complaint. So they all out. I'm going to accuse, criticize, denounce, disagree, fret, gripe, grumble, lament. I wish I knew how to pronounce. Ooh, I like this. This for a person like myself that can't read.
Carp.
I'm a carp. Hold on, y'all. I ain't done yet. This is the Aquarius Rant. Charge. Okay, I don't even feel like trying. When I say I'm disgusted, I'm so disgusted. I just tried to find something to watch here on YouTube, and I saw a live young woman doing her makeup, and she was talking about how we just like one paycheck away from, being in hardship. And I shook my head. I was like, okay, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of it. I think that my work is taking a toll on me. And it's crazy because, and when I say work, being a tarot reader and...
Contravene.
Contravene. I know what contravene, huh? There you go. When my work is, I'm tired of it. I am literally wore out. But not wore out where I love my work. I love being able to see. I love the research. I like talking to people. But I'm tired of hearing all bad things. When I began to study these art forms, I was seeking answers for myself, hoping that I could understand this realm better so that I myself could make better decisions and, enhance my life, the quality of my life. But that's not what I got. I remember the first time I was really able to interpret something in my chart, it was negative. And I was like, I done went through all of this to interpret some negative stuff. And I was like, no. I'm just not good enough yet. And so I just kept studying, went back years later. Same thing. No. I ain't good enough yet. So study some more years. I go back and it's still the same old thing. Just negative. But who's it negative for? It's negative for me, from my perspective. I want a life of, I want the good life. I want a fabulous life. I never really wanted to be wealthy. Just okay. But what I've learned about me, and it's a part of me that I detest, is the humanitarian part. It's all right to help, but I don't want to be a sacrificial lamb. I ain't trying to be no Jesus Christ figure and suffer for past life or life before this one or before this one. I don't have no recollection of it. I'm so disgusted by it. I am disgusted by the messages that I get. And I'm so angry and jealous that the other tarot reader channels I go to, they can make it sound so good. And I'm like, why can't I make it sound good? Why can't I find the gold nuggets? The gold nuggets. Most times when I find gold nuggets in astrology or tarot, it is usually suggesting something. It's still suggesting something negative, but it's the hidden negative factor. I'm tired of it. Should I take a break from my work? No, it's not that kind of tired. It's not that I'm tired. I'm disappointed. Disappointed. New word, because I'm
contravene. Contravene
is a synonym.
Contravene. Contravene.
For complain. And it is to come or be in conflict with. I'm in conflict with life right now. Go or act against, deny, oppose. Yeah. To violate, to infringe, to transgress. Hell, I do all that well. Oop, I see I didn't make it. I didn't make it. I have given, I realized the other day, I don't know where I am. Where y'all at? I lost you. Okay. I realized the other day that I've given out so many predictions in my life, even before I got into all of this. And all of them came true. And all of them were negative. And that really upset me. Slow your support. Oh, show your support for Can Angels Fly Tarot. Okay. Yeah. There are a few. And so all of those predictions I made, they came true. And it almost brought tears to my eyes yesterday. I went in the bathroom and I was trying to do my hair, and it just crossed my mind. It wasn't nothing that I was trying to reminisce about, but it happened. The thought came. All the people's faces came. I'm so sad right now. And I would sit and talk to different people, different walks of life, different economic brackets. And I would tell them what I could see. And I never thought of myself as a psychic or anything like that. I just felt like, I was outside of them. I was up close and personal with their life. I'm a witness to what I'm saying. And I'm saying, hey, based on what I see from my perspective, you need to straighten out because XYZ may occur. This is what I see as a witness, a person outside looking in. Hey, I guess it's inevitable. Every life experience has its relative or corresponding experiences. But those people just started coming across my mind, and as I stepped in the mirror, all I could see is them passing me all down through my life. And at the time, I didn't look at it again as no gift or nothing, and it wasn't like I was telling these people stuff they didn't want to hear. They would come to me and talk to me, break bread with me, and I would tell them, I'm like, hey, X, Y, and Z. And it hurt me right now because none of them had the capacity they heard me, but they didn't have, like myself, I'm no different, didn't have the self-discipline to pull back from whatever they were indulging in, basking in. And it could be anything. It was anything. It could be anything from food, drugs, a person, just anything. Devotion. I talked about the young guy the other day. So devoted to the people from the street that took care of him. Couldn't let that go. And then this whole thing, I can't say that. They would try to, this is what bothers me, they would try to refrain from what we will say, I guess, our bad habits. But it wasn't like some of it wasn't even that it was bad habits. It was their life, and it was them living their life. It was them living their life. It was them living their life. And I'm angry because y'all don't know me on an intimate level, but I walk and talk to myself all day long. At least that's what people say. Mama, you talking to yourself again? Hey, Nancy, you talking to yourself again? Yeah, I'm talking. I'm talking to God. I'm talking to all of the entities and beings. And I'm cussing and fussing because I want a better life. I'm cussing and fussing because another thing that came to me over this past week is, I'm an Aquarius, and I just talked about it in the last live stream. I am an avatar, one of many, who is a representation of a particular population of people outside, from out of all of humanity. The 7.5 plus billion people I talk about. I'm a certain demographic. I'm a testament to what it is to be a part of a demographic. I was made to speak, to talk up, to, if possible, start a movement to have my particular demographics concerns heard. Have I been successful in that? And that's one of the things I argue and cuss to these invisible forces about. And I know they're real. A lot of people don't know they're real. I know they're real. I don't doubt it. That if that's who I've come to be, what's holding me up, For a while I thought this here platform on YouTube was going to serve the purpose. But I ain't sure about that. But then, why do this work, even though I love it, when I got these people from the past flashing across my mind, like they standing there. And I just remember the conversations I would have with them. And I realized I done told people when they was going to go to jail. And I told them, please don't, and don't do this, and don't do that. And they still did. They couldn't help it. It was a part of their life. It was like staged. Like they were set up. You're damned if you're doing, you're damned if you don't. I understand that old saying. See, I couldn't make it through without cussing. And then there were other people I said, hey, please don't do this. Please don't do that. This is the time period in which you gonna leave here. And they left here. That's something else to be able to say you done set up and told a person when they about to leave. I probably won't even know when I'm about to leave, but I knew when they was about to leave. It's deep. What you saying, Yanni? I'm going through it. I feel weird. The phone died getting out of the car. I'll be back. Okay. Phone died getting out of the car, man. I'm listening. Okay. We are not real Americans. No money, no real opportunity. I hear you, love. I wonder, can I show? See, they can put a blinkety blank and asterisk for some letters if they want to. YouTube could. Listen to YouTuber Water Star on Aquarius. Water Star on Aquarius. I never heard of that person. The most recent 2 videos. Okay, I will. Where my pen at? And I also realized all the people I think I found here on YouTube. I only have a few that I go to. I heard somebody talk about them, or one of y'all referred me to them. I am just trying to keep it together. You say the person name is Water Star. Even I've talked about and shared my life experiences about being disliked, even to the point of being hated, even to the point of people attempting to kill me, assassinate me. And I thought about that today because of something happened today. I was like, Lord, I said, or that which is greater than me. However you like to label it, don't matter to me. I was like, now, I've gotten older, and I never was a wild person anyway. I go hang out, but I wasn't wild. I wasn't, what do you call it, flamboyant, trying to be seen. That's never me. So I'm like, I don't understand. Now that I'm older, I'm much more slowed down. My finances have changed considerably, so that slow you down. I was like, I'm not, maybe when I was younger, maybe I couldn't see myself the way others saw me. Maybe I was something to be jealous of or angry with or envious of. I say, but when I look in the mirror now, I don't see that. I don't fit, again, I talk about the standards and things like that. I don't fit the standards. I'm not of competitive nature and different things like that. I feel like what is for me is for me. And unfortunately, what is for me is not very much of anything. I'm just kind of isolated, quiet person. I don't fit into a lot of drama and things like that. But even though I can say that, today the same thing happened. And it's been building. It's been building for a couple of years now. And I kept trying to walk and just trying to ignore it and not feed into it. It's something like the story I tell y'all. I want to talk about how, was it when Mercury would go retrograde? When I was in my last relationship, I watched the energies coming early. And I promised myself, I said, as Mercury was entering, preparing to go retrograde, I said I would not argue with the significant other at all. I wouldn't even do anything to provoke him. Just because I was doing research to see if the Mercury retrograde energy was going to compel an argument and a separation between us. And so I watched the patterns and I saw the pattern. And so I chose the next time Mercury is going to retrograde. No, I wouldn't argue. Wouldn't say nothing sassy. And I watched. And even though I was agreeable and like, yes, okay, he got so angry that I wouldn't indulge him. He was spit and cuss, and he'll settle down because he ain't have nobody to argue with. But even if it took a third party, I watched how this energy unfolded in reality. It did what it needed to do. The energy did what it came to do. Even if I wasn't a part of the play, is what I'm saying. I was present, but I wasn't interacting. Scrappy, that is me. And sure enough, the same thing happened. The same thing happened. I told somebody, I said, hey, your Saturn return is at hand. I said, you got to make it to your 30th birthday. Get to it and get over there. And stay on your best behavior. Try to get as far away from it as you can. I said, I'm telling you, hey, the way these energies are, the way I've experienced them and seen them manifest, I said, if you ain't doing nothing, I said, the energies are going to just assist in creating a scenario to test you. It's like you got to be found upright during this test, or Saturn is going to do what it's been deemed and created to do. It's going to restrict you. It's going to confine you. Those kind of things, because you're not following the rules or the regulations. I kept telling them, you can't fail. You can't mess up. Said it over and over again. And guess what? In the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye. Sure enough. The situation, what they call it, came out of nowhere. And a whole lifetime of just talking to people and giving my perspective and it being right. But what gets me is that nobody was able to withstand these energetic influences. Nobody was able to be their higher selves. Let me try to explain what I mean. Because I don't want you to think that I'm talking about people that's out here living reckless. I'm not talking about that. It almost seems like, let's say it's a person that lives extremely reckless on one side of the spectrum, and on the other side of the spectrum is a Buddhist monk. It seems like your best chance of survival is the closer you can get to the Buddhist monk and get out of an environment where other people ain't trying to get to the side of the Buddhist monk. You know, I don't know how to describe it, but I know it's just crazy. And the only ones that I've seen survive and strive without being taken over or done away with are those that almost went to a Buddhist state for real. And I'm not saying that these people still work, but they go to work and they go straight home. I told y'all I got to the point where I didn't even want to open my door. I didn't open my door for a long time. Didn't want no company. Because I realized to interact with another was an avenue for these energies to perpetuate themselves. And I just don't want to deal with bullcrap. And all that bothers me because, remember y'all, this is an Aquarius Rant. I'm feeling like crap. Them 3 words that Yanni wrote. Feel like crap. You say, giving us hope. Well, I need some hope. I am super duper tired of this. I really am. It is annoying. I am so fed up and annoyed with this whole thing. It's ridiculous. I feel like it's ridiculous. I feel like I'm being played like a puppet or something. It's just too much. And it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm going to give you an example of what doesn't make sense. Now, we're in this physical world. My question is, what are we really supposed to consume? Everything that I know I consume, and it seems like the people that I'm around or ever encountered, you know, we have particular things that we like to eat, whether food, snacks, or whatever. And all of it's bad for you. So what are we supposed to eat? Or, like my cousin, it was suggested that she, I don't know, that cancer developed due to her, the deodorant she used. You know, so what are you supposed to use? It seems like everything that's here also to sustain us. This is the part that I told y'all some time ago that I don't share with y'all. This is another part of my thoughts relative to this physical realm. The same things that are here to assist us in living longer are the same things that contribute to our demise. What are we supposed to do? Then we are this spiritual energy encapsulated in a physical body full of nerve endings, urges, desires, wants, and longings. If we partake in it, it helps to deteriorate us faster. Seems like the only option is to be a Buddhist monk. But I don't think them desires and stuff go nowhere, even if you in that state. And anyway, I just watch everybody. It's people that, I mean, it's insane. When I say I'm irritated, I think today I got more irritated, number one, with the technology. Number two, it was that the same thing occurred again. I am 49 years old and the exact same thing occurred again. Somebody disliking me or hating me for being me. Don't even really know me. Throwing shade. I'm looking like all I do is when I see him, I'm like, and then on top of it, it becomes a group thing because it goes on so long. And it's like insane. Then every day, it's like last night, I have some neighbors. And they were, I guess, I don't know, drinking or partying. But they outside arguing and fighting. And well, they didn't get to fight, but they were arguing. I'm like, and then when I went somewhere else and somebody else was arguing. I go somewhere else, somebody else arguing. Why is it that everybody is mad, angry, hateful, vengeful, and say they're a good person? I don't understand that. And hate me, I guess, because I really tried to be a good person. I don't want to indulge in arguing and cussing and fussing. It is what it is. Say what it is, and that's what the fudge it is. As long as it's not going to hurt me, that's fine. Like, example, what do I mean by that? Like, back to the ex. When the ex back in the day started cheating on me, he could have just said, I want to be free. Or let's have an open relationship and let me decide. But no, he decided for me. When I'm thinking he out at work, he out creeping. You know what I'm saying? And so it becomes the shock of what a person is doing, a shock that a person betrays you when you have no apparent evidence in the beginning. Why do people go to those type of what they call it, extent, I can't even think. If you listen to my rant, all I'm talking about is really the human condition and who we are as people. Our people constantly arguing and cussing, falsely accusing people of things they didn't do. I told y'all last year, neighbors down the street told my other neighbor that me and her husband was messing around. Them people could have had me killed. They were lying, and I don't even talk to them. These were the people that tried to sue me. Another set of people that didn't like me. I forgot about them. But they did. That woman could have came out and just killed me. But me and her were, really neighborly. Me, her husband, and kids were all neighborly. I babysat for their children, But I was like, just to falsely accuse somebody. And then that same family just did it again. They accused my daughter of breaking in another neighbor's house, saying, even though it was their child that did it, the child that did it, the young man that did it, said my daughter told him to do it. Alright, my daughter told you to break in somebody else's house. My daughter is here with me. I keep an eye on my kids and what they do. But you, the one that went over these people's house and knocked their window out, climbed in their house and took their shit. And then somehow it ended up back here with us. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I didn't fully cuss him. I stopped at I didn't put a K on the end. I'm so disgusted. I'm just disgusted. I am just so disgusted. I wonder, can we really do better? I think there is some people that can do better. People that's conscious, that wants to, that's full of love. But then there's always that competitive nature. There's always the wanting and longing and stuff. And it's hard to deny yourself stuff that you want. It's hard to deny yourself. That's what helped me get over my ex. I was like, I'm in love with him. And whoever he cheating with, in love with him. I was like, so if people don't want to give up what they, attracted to, or, liking. They don't want to give that up. They don't want to deny themselves. I said, so since I know that about people and being under the human condition, I know that other person's not going to do it. So I might as well do it. Just stop all the drama. I'll do it. You know, I'll do it. Enough is enough. They say, Buddhist monk life. I'm so you say you're so close. You become a relaxed, focused observer. And that's the state I try to be in, Yanni. Like I said, I don't even want to argue and cuss and fuss with this life. I really don't. I really don't. It got the upper hand. It's invisible. It's doing what it do, the way it do it, how it's made to do it. So I don't want to cuss and fuss with something that I can't even see and really don't know the dynamics about. So the next state is go Buddhist monk. I try to do Buddhist monk, but it's other people that will not allow me to do Buddhist monk. You know, I'm like, all I do is I'm neighborly, you know. I'm a part of the community. Whatever uplifts it, that's fine. I'm not in the middle of the, well, I try not to be in the middle of the drama, but somehow, some way, I am drugged in the middle of drama. Whether it's by my kids, the neighbors, a family member. Like one time, I called myself trying to get my family together. Just to get us together because we've become so distant. And I talked to my family members, but like in different sectors or sections of people, groupings of people. And so when I was trying to get them together a few years back, I'm dealing with one group, and I'm saying, you know what, I want to have a family function, this and this and that and that. And all of a sudden, there are complaints about another family member from another group. They complaining. And all I can say is, when do you heal? When do you forget? Or forgive? You know? I was like, we're getting more and more distant. I don't understand this. I mean, and people in my family that did stuff to me, they've gotten on my nerves. But thus far, thank goodness, it has not been anything that's been so severe I couldn't let go of or tolerate them for a brief time to enjoy ourselves and come together. And I tell you, every single grouping of my family I went to and told them about my plan to have the function, each of them had a complaint about somebody else in another group. It was things going on that I didn't even know was going on. And I was like, okay. But some of the stuff, again, it was just like, forgive it. Let it go. We human. Folks made mistakes. Or are they mistakes? Are we human? Because we can be some very, very vicious people. I'm not talking about me or you. I'm not talking about us in here. But I look around, I was like, people real vicious. They vicious. They vicious to others, to the people they in relationships with, that they love and sleep with. They have children with. Mothers are cruel to their children. Fathers. Some children cruel to their parents or grandparents. We're cruel and we can't see how evil we are. And I mean, all of that, you know, as I read the tarot and the astrology, and everything keeps reiterating itself. And I personally, I'm not trying to pull the good stuff out. I was like, shoot, I was ready. I'm even ready to lie. I'm telling you, I'm ready to lie. I was trying. I was like, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to lie. I was like, okay, just get on here, read the card, and read it from the most positive perspective you can read it from, Nancy. And I get on here and I try. That's why, if you notice recently, I've been doing a lot more stuttering. Can't get it out. Can't get it out. I can't get it out. And I was like, okay, I'm in sync with this whole realm and this existence and the people and the energy, the underlying hidden energy, the things we can't see about ourselves. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And then the way it appears, again, that I'm a avatar or a poster child for a portion of humanity that I don't even freaking agree with or get along with. I'm like, oh God. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Don't even get along with. You know, that's crazy. Just everything is nuts to me. Maybe I'm just nuts. I should have put a straight. Where's she at? Over here. She being a crybaby too. I should have just put a straight jacket over there because I'm about nuts. This is too much for me. What's the answer? You know, again, these are things that I haven't talked about openly here on my platform. I've always told y'all some other stuff I would eventually talk about when I feel like we were mature enough to deal with such subject matters. And today is the day to begin looking at these other aspects about ourselves. You know, we are the ones that are killing each other, raping each other. We are the ones that can't hear people crying for help before they commit suicide. We the ones. We the ones not taking care of our seniors and dismissing them. We are the ones, doing all of these things. It's not a foreign alien. And I look at some people sometimes in the midst of doing what they're doing. And mental illness is a norm, my friend. It's so real. It's so real. It's so real. And the whole thing is mental illness must be common because people don't even know when they mentally ill. They don't even know it. I told y'all I had a therapist that she had, so I was like, who the damn therapist? Is it me or her? If it's me, I want to get paid. I was like, wow. I was like, wow. But at least she knew she needed some help, so. She knew she needed some help. I was like, that's deep though. And in all my life, I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 in February. I've only met a few good people that seemed like they were really good people. Really good people. And a lot of them weren't even of my culture or race. I met people in different, cultures and races. And it's good people. This is what I can say is good people in all different races, colors, shades, creeds, all that, shapes. And they're evil people of equal shades, colors, race. Horrible people. I done met racist people. I done met biased people. But the angels, they are far and few, and they quiet. And they most quiet and meek. I mean, it's been some big mouth ones like myself. But for the most part, they're more quiet and meek. And I'm not talking about cowardly meek. That's not it. That's another thing I want to talk about. I see you, Yanni, writing. I'm just going in. Everyone is mad, angry, etc. Nancy, because we all live under narcissism, and more than half of us don't know how narcs operate. Narcissism and codependency is the problem. Most people's families are so dysfunctional. That's a whole nother one. I was like, I be looking at even my own family, like, what the hell is really going on here? People are acting out their family life wherever they go. Studying narcs and psychology. Continue psychology, and my determination to speak truth gives me peace overall. As a Buddhist monk, when they F with you is the opportunity to practice your mindfulness, as the Buddhists put it. And I do. I try to stay very, very calm. I told you about the double-headed dragon. If I let the double-headed dragon rule, I would have been out of here or incarcerated by now. And I got to the point where, again, when I started, even before astrology and the tarot, I began to see that there was something else going on. It was a hidden mechanism. I've actually experienced for myself many times. Justify or I can approve or understand something completely and know it's true because I experienced it myself. Let me give you a couple of examples. I have been okay, mentally stable, and in the blink of an eye, something will transpire out of nowhere. I could be walking down the street, maybe bump shoulders, we'll say, with somebody, and all hell breaks loose. I can say, I done say it like bump shoulders. I say, excuse me, and a motherfucker go, excuse, I ain't gonna make it too, go crazy, and then I'm going crazy, and I've seen it bump from one person to the next, one person to the next. I've seen that, like in that movie. What I told y'all in one of these live streams I did, the movie with Denzel Washington was in, and they would touch each other, and the people, whoever possessed that spirit, would start singing whatever the song was. And so I watched that happen. So I started realizing it's a hidden mechanism here now. Where that come from? You know, where that come from? It just pop out of nowhere. You ain't got to know a person. Literally out on the street or whatever. People are evil, and I just don't understand it. I understand that we get frustrated sometimes, but like one time, I'm gonna tell you a story about I had a therapist appointment, and so I called and ordered transportation, and transportation. Well, I had to go to therapy ongoing, my back, and so it was several times a week, and transportation got to where they weren't picking me up in a timely manner, so I would have to call and cancel at the last minute. So I'm calling and cussing. The insurance company out and the transportation people, they get it together. So they start coming to pick me up regularly. I'm on time for therapy and stuff. And one day I go into the office and I sign in. I'm about 15 minutes early. I sign in and I tell the receptionist, I'm going to go to the restroom and I'll be right back. And so I go to the restroom, and when I come back, I hear the therapist talking horribly about me. Talking about, basically she was saying how much I waste her time, this and this, that, and don't show up. I ain't showed up. I don't call, which wasn't true. And so when she realized, she's talking to the receptionist, and so the receptionist is just riding her wave as she, what do you call it, rants. And I guess it dawns on the therapist that she's talking about me. And so the therapist says, she's out in the lobby. And all of a sudden the therapist says, she is? She's like, yeah. And therapist look out, wait a minute, and then she look out, I was like, oh, Miss Rogers, come on in. I was like, okay. She was like, I said, I see you a bit upset because you thought I wasn't here again. Now time has passed since the transportation had been messing up. But it was just how brutal and cruel she was thinking she's speaking behind my back, and she wasn't. And like I told her, if you had an issue, you should have said something to me. I said, every time that they did not come, I called you as soon as I realized I couldn't make it to you. That was something that I cannot control. Like that. But it was her, and if you could have heard her tone was horrible. I was like, wow. So I was happy when I was done with that therapy. And so now my back is back out of whack, but I don't even want to go to therapy because I don't want double-headed dragon to come out, because I personally could have dealt with that a whole different way. But I'm already broke down. I don't need to be fighting, breaking myself down. But I understand why people end up getting into different, issues and domestic, fights and things like that. Because that was something, the way she spoke, a real gangster or gorilla or whatever, if anybody would have went back there and whipped on her. I'm going to make it just a little while longer without cussing. And so I've had so many different experiences like that and witnessed so many different experiences. And I was like, wow, that's deep to me, that nobody can go off like me and talk to themselves. I have to talk myself down sometimes because I'll be really ready to act up. I mean, just over the last couple of months, I've had quite a few opportunities to turn up. And I just like Buddhist monk, Yanni, Buddhist monk, hey Pam, I'm going through it. I want to cry. I feel like a crybaby. This is another Aquarius Rant. I don't know what's going on in the world, but I can't take no more. I question myself. Am I a good person, or am I like the rest of these people that I'm meeting? When I say I stand in the mirror, y'all, and stare in my eyes, because they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And I was like, talk to me. Talk to me. Let me know who I am. So if I am a horrible person, then it's no reason for me to try to refine myself or to contain myself or to contain the double-headed beast. If I am a demon, then let me be a demon life and let me let it out and let cards fall where they may. I'm asking God, I'm asking all universe life, I would like to label, hey, show me who I really am. If I'm an angel, then do what? Let me fly. Stop clipping my wings and let me go ahead and fly. But life won't. Life won't. Which is interesting. I'm going to read Yanni and Pam. I'm just ranting. I'm working through it. Hard to forgive when you don't understand why the whatever happened at all. Yep. LLI on the tarot. I was going to lie on the tarot. I'm Yanni. I was going to lie. Just to be able to say, how many times have y'all heard me say anything good? Y'all, people probably didn't love my channel. I'll be like, okay, you gotta tell the truth, you gotta tell the truth, you gotta tell the truth. You gotta read and interpret what you see and whatever, you can download what you get and and challenge. Be moving in integrity. But never to get a good reading. I can recall the readings that I gave that were pretty good, almost on a couple of handful. I talked about Gemini advancing and maturing and moving away from small social circles that may have been a little more immature, repetitive, and holding them back. I have talked about Aquarius just recently about blessings coming in. Finally. I think at one time I did talk about Aquarius having an opportunity for love. I recently talked about Pisces having receiving a level of wealth or blessing or what do you call it? Windfall. Pisces, Scorpio. It was something about Scorpio before getting what they wanted, they desired. Capricorn it seemed like Capricorn always stayed in trouble. I really can't, and I'm talking about over all these years. I've been on YouTube about 5 years. I can't recall many good reports, and that upsets me. It upsets me seriously. It does. And then the whole thing is, it goes back to all of the warnings I gave to people throughout my life. And it happened. It was true. And when I say, even in this house, I've been here about 11 years. I have markings on my wall. Whenever a prediction comes through, wherever I was when I made the prediction, I'll mark it on the wall. One day maybe I'll walk through and show y'all the different markings right where I stand. As soon as I find out it was so, it's come to be, and I can have confirmed it right wherever I was when I made it. I go make that mark on the walls. Walls all marked up. Oh Lord, that's an interesting way to record. But I was like, I gotta record it. And I said, how can I record it and know it's real? Am I imagining this? And I would go, like I said, mark it on the thing. My mom said, if I go crazy, I won't know. Oh, dang, that means I'm okay then. That's a good one. Right. You be too busy being crazy. She's now total nut. Oh, you say she's now total nut. You writing her eulogy in advance. Oh, Lord have mercy. That movie is Fallen. Is it Fallen with what's his name? Denzel Washington. Is that it? That's what's up now. Hey Nancy, what's up, so family? Nothing much. I'm sitting here as mentioned, complaining, feeling mighty low. Western feeling low. Hell, I'm telling Pam today, I done woke up actually it started fighting last night. They fought all last night until this morning, and it went from them to the next door neighbors. These are refined folks. They out there about to fight. Then I walk out the door. I haven't been out the door all day long. I tell you, I locked myself in. I said, okay, I ain't going out. I don't want no drama. I sit here and work on my YouTube or whatever other work I got to do. And that's a whole nother thing. Y'all know I done complained about it. I have been doing, it seemed like the same work over and over and over again for as long as I can remember. I told you I sat at the table with my mama and watched her do the same thing over and over again. A beautiful dining room table full of papers from different aspects of life, like different constructs of life that she had to deal with to defend herself as an individual in the in society, and to stand to enforce to make sure that they gave she was granted her rights and her liberty, whatever, depending. I don't care if it was a utility company. It was a table full of shit. I ain't gonna make it. And then I inherited that. And I told you the same thing at my brother's home. We inherited it. But I inherited it. I don't care about him. I care about me. Table full. Man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Everywhere. It's everywhere. I'm drowning in papers. I'm like, I don't want to run out of ink. As soon as I run out of ink, they won the battle. I got to keep ink, pens, and paper. I need a whole tree for myself every month. This is crazy. I was like, these companies are corrupt. They're unjust. But it's, what do you call it? Let's see. I suffer alone as many other people suffer alone. Do you get what I'm saying? I know it's not. I know it's more than just me. But they don't know me, and I don't know them. And so all of these injustices in the world are continuing to go on. All these injustices in the world are continuing to go on because we're so separate. We're so separate. So what I'm going through, my next door neighbor could be going through, and we don't even know it. Would you please hang up? Don't call back no more. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Only way you can make something happen is if you know about, you can get a poll of people going through the same circumstance or situation in order to see the unjust, of corporations and businesses and things like that. I mean, it's crazy. And that's how, on a political level, they've gotten away with everything they've gotten away with and will get away with. Because we're too divided, too individualistic, and too self-serving. They're going to pick us off one at a time. They're going to pick us off one at a time. They done pick people's pensions, pick people's 401k plan, played you out of this insurance for your house because it's a natural disaster. All these things. It's unbelievable. People are evil. Those people that, and I know people got jobs. I know that. What's the answer? I know you got to go to work. See, let me tell you something else I heard. There, y'all. And then I'm going to read some more chat. And I heard it before. Was it an advertisement on the ads or something here on YouTube? What was it? It said, somebody was saying something about we are moving into a time period in 2020. Maybe it was somebody's prediction I was watching or something. I don't know. I've just been clicking trying to get my mind off of this. All this stuff, But they were saying that we're moving into a time period in which people will begin to be more self-sufficient, become entrepreneurs, and self-reliant. Oh. And I was like, okay, I don't even know how many people are in the United States, but let's say a utopia would take place. Perfect utopia. Is it possible for the majority to be entrepreneurs, to provide a service or sell something in order to be self-reliant and self-sufficient? Is that practical? What would the money do? Rotate from one person to the other? Let me buy this necklace, you buy this ring, you order this tarot. But is that how it would go? Because in all of that, my question is, number one, where are the natural resources that sustain our life? They're still in the hands of the corporations primarily. They got the farmers by the balls, proverbial balls. That's not a cuss word. So how practical is that? I mean, does that sound real? See, people back in the day, I do believe, even though I wasn't there, but my imagination is vast. Back in the day, people could be more self-sufficient because they had a piece of land and they had a few seeds that weren't mutated. And so they could, do a lot of hard work and work a lot of long hours. And they had a resource of their own that they could barter or trade with another. That's being self-sufficient and self-reliant. But me becoming an entrepreneur of making earrings and selling them, how many people do I have in my immediate or small, intimate social circle that's going to buy earrings from me? Is it going to be enough to sustain my life and those up under my care? Make it make sense. And this is the thing that people aren't looking at. Remember, back to the 7.5 billion plus people in the world. We are broken up into small groups, small cups of people, small social circle. And it's that small social circle that works together, that are responsible for each other. What do I mean? They are the ones that really would be your clientele because you got access to them. These are the ones that, if we did farming, those would be the people you work with. You're not going to work with other people on the other side of the world or in the next state or even in the next city. No, you're going to work with the people in your environment. So I ask again, since they say we're going to be more self-sufficient, which we're going to be forced to be because of the changes that's been made, but how many people are going to buy the earrings that I make out of my community? How many people are going to buy the cape that somebody knits? How many people? How many capes are needed? How many earrings are needed? Get what I'm saying? And then, again, out of the community, who has enough food to sustain the whole community that we can buy from them? I don't know if I made that make sense. And so it's a lot of stuff that I see that bothers me. And that has me to the point where I want to cry like a baby because none of it makes sense to me. And I'm tired of being in the blind about these things. I've been searching for quite a few years now. And information that I'm getting is it contradicts everything that I'm seeing promoted across the board, totally. And so I'm left to sit here and feel like a loser, like I don't know what I'm talking about, but yet I see the predictions that I made all my life come into existence. And it's scary. It's scary. I met people that are beautiful. And you can tell a beautiful person if you've ever really met one. Do they have the capacity to be nasty? Do they have a double-headed dragon or something similar? Probably so. And they probably fall into the use of their demonic or dark energies every now and then. What's that movie? Falling? Or whatever it's called. But they get in the mirror and they get themselves right. That ain't what I'm seeing happening. I'm really not. And then when I'm here on YouTube, I be like, maybe I'm just living in the wrong demographic area. This whole area in Michigan must be jacked up. Because everywhere I go, it's the same thing. It's everybody trying to hustle and push to sell their product, their service, or whatever the case is. Why? Because that's what makes them self-sufficient. That's what allows them to maintain their lifestyle. And many of them in this area have a lifestyle of the rich and famous. Even though we got a beer pocket book or a lemonade pocket book. But we push and it's not just that. Many times And now, how to say, people that's in the, what they call marketing or business and sales, they don't know how much they gonna make from moment to moment. So, you know, say a person is fortunate enough to have a consistent flow of clientele, that's fortunate state, then yeah, they can probably meet the demands of their life. But everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have the social appeal or something like that. So what are they to do? No, the better question is, what are they doing? Then when I say what are they doing, I'm talking about the ills in this world. When people, you hear about people hustling seniors out of their house, that's what they're doing. Or selling cars as they know are lemons, that's what they're doing. When they hitting people's credit cards up and checking accounts up and buying stuff and other people ain't, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Again, that's no alien doing that. That's us. That's us. And we the same us that's moving into this future. And we getting hungrier. We getting lonelier. We getting sadder. We getting more depressed. We getting high than the mother. Right? Whenever. And it ain't ended. I don't see it ended no time soon. The folks that I done known that was on dope, they said they loved that shit. And they gonna die on it. And so, if you ain't got no money, I done talked about it before. I'm just in disbelief about everything that I hear. And this is the reality that I've lived. When they ain't got that money, they gonna do what they need to do to satisfy that beast. Because that beast torment them. That's what's real. I had a brother that was on heroin. I had another brother that had the PSTD from being in the military and an alcoholic, drinking 2 5 before he could get up and get out, get shit, shower and shave and get out the door. I seen that stuff. And I had a pretty good...
Here are the top search results.
Now my phone started, this is the third time, recording what I was saying while I'm here on live talking to you ladies and gentlemen. It says, get up, get up, get up, out the shower, shave, get out the door. I seen that stuff. Third time. Wow. A lot more assistance. I never asked for no assistance. I have no idea what this is. And I was on another lady's channel. This was about a month or so ago. Same thing happened to her. Now this is the third time this happened to me this week. You see my phone over here. It's on a whole nother table. Earlier it was sitting over there. I ain't touched it. Earlier I know I didn't. I had my hands in my lap. Other time was sitting up there on the table. Stuff crazy. So I'm the real live oracle, y'all, with the cigarettes and a dirty ashtray and a lighter that don't work. So you promised me, Yanni, if I go crazy, I won't know, right? Oh man, that's some deep stuff. Anywho, and it just ain't folks. No, folks I talk about are. You said predator, what you say? You know how horrible it is. Under natural law, we would take out these predators. Under natural law, that's it. They didn't. That's why I was like, universe, what you gonna do? That's like natural law. They mastered that stuff and tweaked it. This face narc control reality blocks problem solving. That's why people go nuts. They can't solve their problems naturally. Can't solve them naturally. We are the rich. The ability to think, reason fairly is some of the wealth. Yeah. I used to think so. I really did. I did. Feeling the same. Stayed in bed yesterday. Feeling something. Feeling everything and everyone. My sister asked if I was depressed. They don't absorb like sponge, but I get tired. We are not naturally all these imbalances. The narcissist created this. As much as people get on my nerves, I think most people just want a simple, non-stress filled life. I think so too. They always hiding your stuff, Yanni. It's a reason behind that. Very true. Right now, I'm in self-preservation mode, and I don't care who don't like it. Yep. I so remember the bartering system. Yes. That's how drug dealers make their money, by the bartering system. Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them do. They say the biggest scams on earth is paying rent. Oh, Lord. I'm so tired of that. I'm thankful to have a roof over my head, but, you know, just never to be done with it. Never to be done with it. Even as a homeowner, never to be done with it. How can you catch a break? My mom lived her whole life, paid off a house that was already at least 50 years old. By the time she died, between all the feud my family did, that house, it was a beautiful home. When I seen it, because I didn't go back for a long while, past it because it was too much feuding, and I was like, we were raised by the same woman. I never got that. I was like, how can we be raised by the same woman and y'all acting like y'all acting? And they fought so fiercely, and then it ended up in court, and the house just, I don't know what happened. It just, I guess the community, people were going in there, I guess, tearing it up. And I looked one day, I got up the courage. I said, I'm going to ride past and see, you know, the house. And when I went past, I didn't even know it was her house. I was like, what happened? It had only been 2 or 3 years. I said, what happened? What happened? That woman worked her whole entire life with a percentage of her salary going to buy a house that was already like 50 years old. Right? And it was gone. Her efforts gone. Her efforts gone. The only my neck. The only thing left is me and my brother, and of course our offspring. And what I did realize after she died is that when the dead die, they stuff die with them too. So anything she left me, I tried to convert over to myself, so it feeded life to keep living. And so I tried to make some good investments, and those investments lasted me a little while. But it was just the insanity. Even my own brothers, I was like, what is this? Even my kids, I'd be looking like, where did y'all come from? Who are y'all? You know, what's going on? Let's sit down and talk about this. We got to figure it out. Let me tell you an interesting conversation I had with my daughter today. We were talking about drugs. And the conversation sprung from all the stuff that was going on, from the neighbors fighting to a jump to another neighbor that's a working person, calm, but it was just the spirit was jumping. And so I just sat here and prayed, went into a meditative state, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a part. But as soon as I walked out the door, the spirit was jumping from house to house. As soon as I walked out the door, it was waiting for me. I was like, what? But anyway, me and my kids are in the house, and we're talking, and we're just talking about everything, and it comes past drugs. I've talked with my kids about drugs frequently because it's so prevalent, and it's glamorized for the younger generation to partake in. I was talking to my kids about how drugs, when my brother used to use heroin, he snorted. I was like, but don't be fooled, heroin is shot, and now they have these different, you go to the hospital give you some morphine, a morphine drip, or some Tylenol with some codeine in a pill. And I was like, they've changed the form, so don't let them fool you. And the other day, was it earlier today or yesterday, I was talking about a person sipping on some syrup or whatever it's called, they changing the forms. of the narcotics and things, and the kids are partaking in them. I say, y'all don't understand the gravity of these monkeys. These are gorillas that get on people's back, that cling on to them for a lifetime like a leech, and they can't let it go, and it's in their spirit all through their body. And like I told my kids, when it comes to drugs, see, drugs, some of the ones that I've taken, prescribed by the doctor, under the doctor's regulations and oversight, they really shut down the pain receptors in the body. And so could you imagine being on a drug that for an extended amount of time, really, the devil never stopped, for an extended amount of time, and those drugs numbing the body, and then when body come back to life, you can feel every single cell in your body, and it hurts. It literally hurts. You can feel gravity. You can feel the throbbing. I guess it's the life inside of us. You can feel it. And so I'm sure after being on drugs for an extended amount of time through abuse and different things like that, or if you have a medical problem, that it is very, very difficult to come off just because of that. And I felt it. And like I'll tell y'all, I had so many life experiences, and they're always little segments. So I'll know what something is. It's like life was training me. When I look back, I was like, well, why that happen? Well, why that happen? Well, why that happen? I was being trained. Why one day I can sit, like I tell you, I sit with a wino on a stoop drinking Mad Dog 2020. You know what I'm saying? Or I get to go to the Whitney or something like that and drink some Dom Perignon and eat caviar. I've had all of the spectrum of little pieces, so I would understand world travels, and then the opposite end is not being able to even get out the house, and the drugs, partaking in drugs, including marijuana, and understanding what benefits it has and what the downfall is. And unfortunately, in this generation, the floodgates of drugs of all types have been opened up to the young generation, and they don't understand the gravity of what's taking place. And another thing, like when my brother did not have his hits or his fix or whatever, this man couldn't even, he was in severe pain because the body's coming alive. Well, it was already alive, but he's aware now that it's alive and he can feel it. And then it was the diarrhea, the vomiting, all that kind of stuff. See, these are the things these young folks don't know about. They don't know about people not being able to buy food for themselves because they rather pacify that demon or spirit. And I listen to some people from my generation primarily, and the generation before, who was like some of the biggest drug slingers. And some of them are awakened now, thank goodness, but they still perpetuated an evil that is the repercussions are playing out now. The repercussions are playing out now, and people are suffering. And I don't believe we have yet to see the full bloom of things. We can't. Going back when in the early 90s, when the AIDS stuff came out, well, based from my perspective, I'm just a watcher. People don't seem like they practice safe sex anymore than they have in the past. But yet, that thing about that the AIDS and stuff is quiet. So what happened to it? I know they have more advanced medicines and things like that, but still, it didn't disappear. I haven't heard about a cure. And so what I'm saying is that they desensitize the younger generation, and because they desensitize, when I say they, I'm talking about the various constructs, governmental constructs, desensitize the younger generation so that they would fall prey to these different self-destructive weapons, and they're falling for it. A person like myself really can't say much to young people. They come, that's what I say, when the devil offered to buy my soul, all I could do was chuckle. And I told you I respectfully declined. Why? Because young people, they come sit with me because their heart be broken and stuff. They're confused about this life. And been the mama. So they come sit, we break bread, we talk about any and everything. But the truth of the matter is, once they walk out the door, as long as they with me, they cool. They cool. We all cool. But once they walk out the door, then they're amongst their peers. And all their peers don't have a person like me in their life to just stay on their head like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So as soon as they go out the door, including my kids, who knows what they be into. You be like, and I'll be like, don't come home to me with that crap, because I don't want no problem. I don't want nothing else to stress me out, upset me, or break my heart. Enough is enough. And that's what I don't understand. Why we who, humanity overall, why aren't we, why from day to day aren't we doing things that make us happy? Why are we always doing things that make us sad, or desperate, or hurt, or needy, or something? Why are our laws set up to devastate us, take loss? You know what I'm saying? Something is wrong with this place, and this existence. Again, these are things I don't talk about on my channel. I told you we had to get to this level of maturity to have such discussions, and I think we're here now. We might as well be here, because if the predictions I see for 2020 are real, this discussion is right on time. It's right on time. This is too much. We can't be happy. We can't celebrate, enjoy life, have a positive outlook. We can't create something as close to a utopia as possible. It's nothing perfect, but fairly a utopia or heaven here on earth. No. No. We destroy each other. They write laws to destroy people. And then the laws that are on a table have the potential to be just, but yet they execute biasness, causing more discord. I made a video maybe 2 years ago talking about the astrological alignment, and that's the video that I predict about the volcanoes going off in Hawaii, and then fire. Well, I didn't go into the fires, but it's just going to end up being some catastrophic weather and stuff, different things that will follow. And Ebola. Wait a minute. The biggest scam on earth, yes, paying rent as if we have a choice to be somewhere else. Oh, to be somewhere else. Oh my God. My brain and heart were. Don't stop getting it. Don't stop getting it. I'm trying not to stop getting it. Stop talking about my family, but I won't ride. It hurts so bad. Honey, I stay saged up, sage. I had sage in a long time, because I ain't been really going anywhere. Maybe I get some sage or something. But I done saged everything. I told you I done seen ghost spirit balls run from the sage. I'm ready. I'm ready for another level. I guess I'm bored with the level I am on. And then this thing about, I ain't finished talking about the drugs. Okay, spirit. It's this thing about the spirit. The spirit really exists. You know, it's one of those things that can cause a dissociative disorder. This concept of, does spirit exist? Spirit has to exist because it is that which is animating us. It's that which connects us to whatever is our creator. So, but the thing of it is, does it exist for the majority of people in humanity? Do they know? Are they aware? Or are they totally disconnected from their spirit and not aware of it? That's one thing. So anyway, I was talking about me and my kids talking about drugs. And I told them, I said, this is something else I experienced when I was younger. And I experienced it throughout my life. And it would be like the devil would slide up on me like slip. And slide up and be like, why don't you try that? Why don't you pop that pill? Smoke that. Do this. Do that. Shoot the heroin. And it'd be under different circumstances. It's like, see what they seeing. See why they love me. Or you depressed. Go ahead and take this. This is going to make you feel better. These are different things I've heard throughout the course of my life when the devil slide up on me like nickel slick. And I just look over at him and say, fuck, F you. I almost did it again. but I made it through. I was like, you got me effed up. And that's how I would, kind of flick them off. But it was the whole thing that happened. And I've always like, what the heck wrong with me? What is this? That I'm actually hearing this. I can feel the devil when he slide up on the side of me. Like, what up, though? You want to feel better? I got something for you. Slide up. You want to fit in? I got something for you. I done experienced it, literally. And that's the kind of thing that a lot of people don't believe or, I guess, understand, or I don't know. But I know when I say that to my kids is like, Mama, we done heard that too. We done had that experience too. I was like, oh, okay. When people tell me things, especially if I done already experienced it, don't shock me none, because I already experienced it. And I'll tell you, if I experienced it, can't nobody tell me nothing. And so, I asked them, what y'all do? My one daughter said, I was scared. But I just like, And she said, I'll take off running and come get in the bed with you or whatever. She was like, I was like, no. I'll take off running. I said, you stay consistent in your no. I said, understand this, that spirit and that temptation comes back. And I'm not even talking about the temptation of somebody that's already been taken in such vices and had a taste literally in their mouth of the substance. I'm talking about it is a temptation that there's a actual entity in our realm with a voice and is attempting to persuade a person. And I know, like I said, I know I wasn't the only one, but it was rarely did I hear it. And my other daughter said she told him the same thing I told him. Oh, you got me effed up and get away from me. So when the church tell you to tell the devil to flee, he will. But he will soon come back. So I don't know if y'all know about that. And other people, it's interesting. I wish my brother was still here. But he OD'd some time back in like 2001 or something. But I wish he was here because I have more questions for him. I don't want to meet nobody else. I don't want nobody else to be on dope. But I do have questions. Because he did tell me about a voice. But it wasn't from, I guess it was from that perspective. Because he was, everybody that I know, well, the majority of people that I know that got caught on drugs because they were out hanging or partying and trying to fit in. And I told them I had the devil come slide up and be like, hey girl, you want to fit in? I got something for you. I'm like, no. They had the same experience, but they decided to partake. And it became, again, a monkey or a gorilla on their back. Like leech nails. And they had the hardest time shaking it. And it was just the perversities that were associated with some of the people experienced on some of those drugs. Something about me that people like to come tell me their business and, the things that they go through and experience. And I used to always wonder, like, what is that? I could be walking down the street, somebody just walk up on me like they know me and just start telling me their whole story and everything. And or I remember one time, it happened a few times, but this one woman walked up on me, grabbed my arm out of nowhere. And you'd have swore we was best friends if you rode past us. We walking down the street arm in arm. And she started telling me about her life. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm telling her about my brother. And she was like, girl, get your brother. He's like, the drug he on, he should not be letting himself go like that. That's some, crack stuff. That's not the kind of drug that, he shouldn't be. I said, yeah, because he used to keep himself up. You couldn't just tell. He wasn't a nodder or nothing. So she was like, he's real depressed. He's real depressed. I said, yeah, that's what I figure. She says, well, do your best. She said, you're a spiritual warrior. She said, she did end up asking me, you ain't even concerned why I walked up and, just grabbed your arm and started walking. We talked about that too. She's like, you're a spiritual warrior, you're a strong person. She says, go to your brother and you help your brother. He's real depressed. And so I did, and me and him, we worked on some stuff, and he did come out. That woman was absolutely right. And he got up. He got up for the better. But not as far as the drugs, just about his appearance and making sure he took care of himself. But it was interesting. I just had an interesting life. I would just like to see something good. The best thing I've seen in life is that I think was real. Best thing in life, I think that was real. Yes, the question is, what is real? I'll tell you, the best thing I've seen in life, I don't know the backstory or the of a person's of strangers' lives, but I know I've been out like at the doctor's office or the mall, and me and my mom used to go to Old Country Buffet together when she was alive, and we would always see this really old lady. She'd be so old, she's shuffling, couldn't walk, and her daughter would be with her, and the daughter would just be holding her mom, and just so gentle and delicate with her mom or father, whatever, and walk them to the table, bring them to the buffet, and they would sit down and they have a nice meal and they talk. That was like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. And I used to tell my mom, you know what? When you get old, I'm going to do that with you. I said, but I ain't going to be that gentle with you. I'm going to drag you in. And you won't be eating all that bread pudding either. But that and she used to laugh. She said, okay. But that's one of the realest things I saw. Next thing, let's see. Anything else I've ever saw that was real. Real. And that's interesting, even that, because a lot of people don't care about their parents. Not at all. It'd be so much anger from past hurts and things like that, which I understand. How do you get over such things? Betrayal of your parent, because your parent might go off and marry somebody else, date somebody else, or hold that other person up on a pedestal and not you. So I understand the hurt and pain. So is that the kind of thing that should inspire parents to stay together? Because I don't know what has made people like those people I've seen at, like I said, the mall, the doctor's office, or the restaurant, primarily restaurant. But even people don't take the time out to take their parents to the doctor. And I'm talking about parents that's really slow now. They're in a time period of being really slow and needing to be talked to multiple times and helped out, and help the papers being filled out. You can tell, because it takes a person themselves that's in their youth and in their prime that can jump up, whip, snap, and get out, to slow down to their parents, level, and just chill with them and help them ride whatever way they got to ride. That takes a special type of person to do that. Because I've actually met people that can't sit still. They won't sit still. Not for nothing. Not for nobody. You gotta go. We live in an interesting world. It's interesting world. I'm trying to think of other really wonderful and beautiful things I've seen in my life. Right, life could be so cool. I really believe life could be so cool. You say, really, what happened to AIDS, Ebola, mad cow disease? Right. Who knew? Where did it go? I don't want it. I don't want none of it. I don't want nothing. I'm cool. I'm copacetic right where I am. I can't deal with none of it. Life could be so cool. I know about that. I live with the devil, and it wants me to give up and react on it so it can say to others, see, my dignity and integrity I prefer. Alright. The devil is a taunting mother sucker. And that's why I be telling my kids I feel guided through it all. My joy is my I got to show that. Yeah, is F the devil. When I get low, I create cozy comfort as much as possible. Yeah. Often I'm set people situations to catch me so I don't fall. So I must have something to do, to say, to be, to do, to say, to be. He said, when I was in the hospital this last time, I told my brothers that are addicted to crack, talk to them about, I want my family whole again. I notice they look better. Yeah, it does. But whatever these spirits are, they run so deep. And I think it's like the human being inside on a spiritual level got pits in them. We got pits in us, some of us. And that drug fills in those pits temporarily. Or something like that, because it's like so hard for them to get off. I know a few people that claim they are off of using their whatever preferred drug was. But I think they still dib and dab every now and then. I think they burnt themselves out, because what the 80s was, what, 20 years ago? Well, wait a minute, 8, 20, 40 years ago? 40 years ago. And so that's when primarily like the crack hit. So they burnt themselves out and learned how to kind of control it a little better. But that whole thing, the whole society, my whole community was devastated. Even though my mom's house was about 40 or 50 years old when she bought it, we still had we lived in a beautiful community, because the I guess what they call it, the Caucasians or the Jews, I believe, were also in our area that I grew up in, had just moved out. They called it the white flight or something like that. So they had just moved out. So the houses were still, well maintained and things like that. And then if a person worked like my mom, they kept it up, new roofing or whatever, put new installation, whatever they needed to do, they kept them up. It was that next generation in the 80s, the people that's born 1950s, mid 1950s primarily, they've dropped the ball due to the drugs, and lost the houses and things, and that helped too. Oh, that's clicker. Is there? Where's the charger? But I just don't understand why it can't be good. Like, even I eventually end up having a couple of family functions after I told my family, hey, let's get together, let's collaborate and make something happen, let's potluck. Wait on it. We would have starved. So I was like, okay, we gonna do this. So set it up, and by the end of the night, I come from a black family, as you would imagine, and black families traditionally, when I was growing up, they get together, cook, play cards, drink. So back in the day, it was E&J and McMaster Scotch and stuff. So I came up with some drunk card players. So trying to relive the golden days, the glory days with my family, and so they come over. We got food. We ain't never get to play cards and stuff. They went from lame to crazy. They missed the middle part. They totally missed the middle part. Next thing I know, they arguing and fighting, and all I could do is come outside and put my hands on my hips, and I can't cuss. I'm trying not to cuss, and say all you got to do is wait for it. Got to have a moment, huh? And so I get going now, y'all. I got the roasting, and I was roasting so hard, and I roasted so long, they all just walked away. I was like, and I'm talking about from the youngest to the oldest. Everybody picked somebody to argue and fight with, and I'm just rolling and walking and talking and rolling my head and cussing. I'm an Aquarius. I've been gifted, and I cussed and roasted everybody there and talked about every up in there. Oh my God, I guess they just gave up because I was fooling. I was like, you didn't have to do nothing but come and be cordial, and you want to act the fool up in my house, in my yard. Oh, I act the fool. I'm like, and so it's just everything. I'm just wondering, where is the good thing? Y'all tell me, what's the best thing you've ever experienced in your life? I mean, that was pure, that was, I don't know how to describe it. It was maybe more divine acts. or divine experiences, maybe pure of heart, as pure as heart as far as really caring and paying it forward and different things like that. I mean, I guess some of these non-profit organizations help people, you know. I think, I mean, but it depends on who is a representative of an establishment. But I remember when my brother, I was trying to get him to go to rehab on the, you know, setting it up. I met this worker. I met a couple of them. But the worker was very patient. Again, it's like angels are patient. He was a man, this one. He's very patient. And he explained to me everything. He explained to me my brother's drug usage and the withdrawals that he would go through. He explained to me, and he was very, again, tranquil and calm. He wanted me to be very sure I knew what I was getting in, and he wanted me to take a pledge and an oath that I would, you know, be the support system for my brother no matter how difficult it got. And he was talking about how, I forgot how he said, but what was more concerning to them, you know, the organization, was his alcoholism. It was the withdrawals from alcohol and not the drug. I was like, what? It's like, yeah. He said that, you know, can be deadly. I was like, wow, okay. And so anyway, he talked to me. He talked to me for a very long time. He talked to me by myself, and he talked to my brother, and, you know, so he's very, very patient, and he literally walked us through everything. And these people, and let me tell you something about these type of people. These type of people. Oh man, I wish I could be so transparent. Again, we don't live in a world in which we can be transparent, so we can really know what's going on out here, so we can know the injustice, and we also can know where the angels are. But people such as him, I've run into a few of them in my life. Again, different cultures, races, whatever, you know, big, small, whatever, short, tall, far and few. But what I noticed, if I were to be graced with doing business with an angel cannot uphold a business or corporation's corrupt policies. Now, the angel will follow the policy to a T. But there are always loopholes, is what I've learned. There are always loopholes. It is those that uphold, we'll say, the business owner or the corporation's lack of integrity and corruptedness, that they won't let you know about those loopholes. But an angel is so cool, laid back, quiet, and is really communicating with you and listening to what you have to say. And they will gradually walk you to see if you fit any of these loopholes, if you have any of these loopholes, because they want to help you. And if they are able to find that loophole, oh, you say they spirit change, the person's spirit change. Like, well, we done found the answer for you. And they will apply that answer, etc., etc. But I bet you, every single time this has happened in my life, I bet you, if you ever try to reach out to that angel again, they say they no longer work for that establishment. Guarantee you. And I done seen that more than a dozen times in my life. They say they no longer work for the establishment. I even asked one time, when did the person stop working there? I was like, I just talked to him. It's like, oh, as of, let's say, yesterday. If they do not uphold these businesses and corporations, corrupt policies and things, they out of here and or demoted to a position in which they don't hold enough power to make change in a person's life, in the people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the time period that I'm saying we're entering into in 2020. I know of a person that See, I can't tell you. Wish I could be transparent. It'll never be the time to be transparent enough to share the truth. But I know a person. They're deceased now, but they sat by and watched people be abused. You know why they didn't say anything? Because it was their employer, the business that was the corruption. It was the corruption, and it was that business or corporation that was violating people, and this person sat there and let them do it because they were scared to lose their job. Let me tell you how life works sometime. I don't believe in karma in the context if you do something bad coming to get you. If you do something good coming to get you. No, that's not how it works. But this person, that wasn't the only time that they did that. They upheld anywhere they worked for. They only had a couple of jobs, but they had major jobs. They upheld their employers' corrupt policies and works, turned a blind eye. The things I'm telling people about to be doing in 2020 is going to bloom. And multiple jobs now. Eventually, this person got hired for I'm gonna say the casinos here in Michigan, and there was a blackout in the casino. When the lights came back on, the person's drawer was $1,000 short. Immediately, they were fired. God, or something, sometimes don't like ugly. Do I believe that person took it? Not at all. It's nothing in this world that could make me believe that they took that money. But somebody behind that cage did. And they were held accountable for it. Somebody took it during that blackout. And they were held accountable for it. But it was not a just reward for the ills that person allowed to be perpetuated by people. I'll say people. And so, again, we're moving into a time in 2020 that I have seen these things happen up close and personal. So I'll tell y'all, when I be reading the chart, y'all should see me. I'll be going through it. Y'all think I thought I was probably going through it when I first started this. I'll be going through it. I'll be like, oh my God, I done seen that. Again, my life has been these little snippets of all these different experiences. So I'm like, oh my gosh, here it come again. That's all I say, here it come again. That's scary. It's scary. And until some of these, I'll say, like you talk about, Yanni, aren't you the one that talking about ADOS? ADOS, well, I'm concerned about that organization and other organizations like themselves that I want to come together and fight for a cause. People moving too slow. And then I forgot where I got the paper somewhere, but when I was reading, I said, oh, that's saying you ain't going to do nothing. You are not going to do anything at this time against what is being established in your system. And it's like such organizations and others that's similar, that have a cause that they want to fight for, procrastinated, took too long to come together and things like that. And that when I saw that, it scared me, because it's like, like I tell you, when interpreting the stars and the cards, it comes through the filters and the experiences I've had. I had all these little tidbits of experience, and I think that kind of gives me a broader spectrum of understanding. But when I saw that, I was like, y'all ain't gonna do nothing. And then yesterday, that stayed on my heart. So yesterday I started interpreting the stars for February, and it again, it's a continuous story. It's unfolding, and it's just talking about this story that's unfolding. And in February, it talks about, okay, now we have people in their immediate environment working with others. Like, I'm going to give you an example. People in the White House. That is a community. It is a small social network just being in that White House. Now, the whole government thing is a bigger entity. But, like, all the different departments in our governmental system are communities. The communities. So just imagine in the White House. All of those people are a small social network, consider a small social network, and they all work together on different parts of a bigger plan or idea or agenda. And what it boils down to, basically, it comes down to distributing all the natural resources to all the people in the United States, or whatever. So, I'm talking about February's astrological energies. And so it's talking about these people in their small social circle working with another. Of course, we know that each individual works for their own self-interest, but are required to collaborate with others, and so they do. In the month of February, it is implied that it's like it's a stop bullshit month. You know, stop with all the negotiations. We agree on something, and we're going to move this forward. And something like this. I don't have the papers. And we're going to move this forward. And we're going to make this agenda happen. And so those special interest groups, we can say, or crews or tribes, this is just an example, they move forward on a particular agenda that they want to fulfill. Everybody in that crew comes to contribute their portion to get to that goal and to have it manifest. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there are things that manifest in the physical world, in the material world, in the month of February, meaning there are actual practical changes that take place and are applied and executed. And it's going to have an impact upon citizens. And it's saying to, like, those small those networks that tried to come together to forge a bond, to fight for a cause, to promote a cause, said, you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't doing nothing. Basically, in short, you took too long. It says, but there are those that have been working. Oh, yeah, I might as well say this. So when I'm reading the stars, it led me to reflect back once again to the secret message, where I talked about we're entering a time in 2020 that is similar to the time period of the Great Depression of the 1930s. I talked about that time period as a time period in which we'll say the elitists or the government or the powers that be were working secretly on their reorganization and redefinition of the various constructs of our world, while everybody else was going through financial hardship and hard times. Remember, the people, the general populace, were manipulated into these hardships and difficulties in order to scatter their energy and their thought patterns and everything, so that they could not play any opposing roles or anything like that. And so I'll say this, I do believe this is the time right now. If we're going to do it, we better do it in the next few weeks. Better call and say, hey, everybody put $1 in, $2 in, let's move something, let's create something big. We got enough information, we ain't even going to bitch about it, because we go blow $1 or $2 on bull crap, from gambling to cigarettes to drugs to shoes. We better invest it here and make that big colossal spiritual being I done talked about, better make it happen now, because them stars say it implied that in February it said you ain't gonna do nothing. So you ain't gonna do nothing what? You ain't gonna do nothing like them people couldn't do back in the 1930s, when the powers that would be were doing what they was doing. They already shut everybody down. And the powers that be moved to revise the whole, all the social constructs in their favor, and then they let the people breathe. They let them up to partake in the social constructs and to be regulated by it. So when I was reading the stars last night, it was saying that same thing about, what was it about? Basically, I know that there are going to be things implemented, different parts of our constructs. And so I looked up, where is it at? I looked up, what are the constructs? I tried to think of the constructs that create our world or assort us in this world. But I couldn't think of anything but religion. And so, of course, I Googled it. Y'all, this is my notebook. Mary, I told her this. And it also talked about, remember, and I talked about it recently, and the stars pull this part of the information into February. The report I gave for January, it pulls part of the information into February, saying that, okay, it is the small social circle. And who's in control? Who is the leader? Who's running the show? Basically, the person that runs the show is the person that's most knowledgeable, most efficient, most charismatic, and can get the job done. They knowledgeable. Now, we know on a government platform that may shift from person to person depending on what department it's going to. See, this is the creature. They have constructed their spiritual colossal being. They know how to make it walk. And they even use us to make it walk and to animate it. We haven't done that. Example, ADOS hasn't done that. And other similar organizations haven't done that. I've shared here that community that I think YouTube's saying we can't even reference anymore, but I'll say it one last time so I personally get the information. The LGBTQ and whatever community, they have created a spiritual being. And they animate it. And they make it do its bid and go to battle for them. Most organizations have not done that. And if they haven't done that, if they haven't set up their spiritual being by, I'll say by January, you ain't going to do nothing and say it. You ain't going to do nothing. So, and you ain't going to do nothing against what? Against the system. And the system, remember, is under redevelopment. And I'm talking about this for a reason, because y'all know I was going to create and I'm still going to come back, because it's getting, I'm getting afraid, because I am one of the people that create humanity, that I'm in a vulnerable place. I'm in a very vulnerable place. And so what I'm reading is disturbing to me. And I know I'm a representative of a particular demographic of people. Not just black people, not just a woman with a particular set income, or a single mother. It's a lot of people, and it's just not, when I say demographic, I'm talking about basically economically. It's a lot of people of all colors, set in a particular economic cup or bowl that's very shallow. And what is about to take place, I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to weather it, including myself. I'll say, Divinity, what can I do? What can I do? You going to drop me out again? Again? I've been through it. I understand why I've been through it. Some of my superhuman powers could be refined. I'd have been and went insane. Some of the things I've been through. But I did. I learned how to meditate. Fasting. I done fast. Yeah, I'm fat. You can still fast. You can fast. You cannot become what they call it, a carnival. What do they call it? You know what I'm talking about. You can fast. Told you I fasted around the time my mom's death. I forgot to eat for an extended amount of time. So I had little snippets of a lot of life experiences in order, just enough to understand. Just enough to understand. Anyway, the various constructs in this world are all going to be reorganized and redefined, like the budgets readjusted and different things like that. See, some of these things we won't see because we're not up close and personal with them. Some of them we will see, especially if they affect our personal lives. So the different constructs that I got from Google are the government, and then you got to remember the government has 15 branches, and probably sub branches of that. Next construct is race, gender, femininity, and masculinity. Did y'all know that illness is considered a construct? Illness. It didn't say health. It didn't say well-being. It didn't say health care. It said illness. And I couldn't believe it. So I went to multiple different sites, typed it in different ways, and it still came back that illness is one of the constructs in our world. I'll have to go into detail when I do that video. Marriage, family, all these things, if you pay attention, have been being redefined over the last at least 50 years. And they have continued to be redefined, such as gender and masculinity and femininity. Even we can say sickness. Because you know your insurance company determines just how sick you are and what they'll cover and different things like that. Race. We have a lot of interracial, we can say breeding going on. So race is being redefined. And so understand that all of these things are planned. And it's for a purpose. But we can't figure out how to be happy and to work together and to be at peace. Something is not right. Organized religion, technology, deviance was another social construct. Deviance? These weren't things I was expecting to see. So you know what I did? I Googled it, I wrote it different ways and looked on different sites. Deviance is one of the world's social constructs. Deviance. I guess because the criminal system, the judicial system, and all that is, the criminal system and criminal law and different things like that is being also redefined. Understand this. And then, of course, education. So, I was talking about that and sharing that because in the reading for February, it said, so the powers that be will be implementing their changes or executing their changes, and you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. And there are going to be people that are broken due to what is executed in these constructs. And then there are going to be people that sit just outside of the wreckage, because they engage in the constructs, like still having to go to the doctor, still having to get surgeries and things, but they can afford it. You can afford it. And it said those people are going to turn their heads to those that are suffering. Now, I talked about this the other day, but February goes into it even further. And what it ends up saying is, so we have these powers that be that come together and they work together. All the arguments, negotiations, everything is done. Slap on the table, gavel down. We gonna do this. This the plan we gonna follow. Flat out. Ain't no going back. Ain't no more negotiation. Let's move on it. So they move on it. And so each individual is still on that level about their own selfish interests or gains. They're just using that spiritual being to help them manipulate circumstances and situations in our reality in their favor. So it's like the big man taking on the little man trying to take on the big man. That, image. And so they're put everything in place. And people are turning their head. I talked about the other day how the government shut down and other layoffs and different things like that created a particular breed of people that are submissive and susceptible to their employers and things like that, the people that give them their paychecks, or they have an unnatural allegiance and dedication to or organization or something like that. They can't see. So they are sworn to perform their duties and their duties as defined by their job description. Or it's a guy here on YouTube his channel called JWTV, And I watched JWTV one day. I can't remember what the title of his video was about, but what he was talking about was some guy, I don't know who it was, some, I guess, political figure of power that be. I guess JWTV is like an independent news reporter, a person that reads all the news articles and do all the research and then give it to us in layman's terms. And this guy was saying those that have jobs or positions or duties to serve, duties to execute because of their job description, that do not do them will be held accountable. There will be a penalty. There will be a penalty. Now, they already showed us with the government shutdown and other, events that you are dispensable too. Oh, that was another thing the astrological energies talk about, how certain people do not want to be dispensable. You're dispensable too. And so they're going to work their role in life and perform their duties in life because they don't want to be dispensable. I think it's the word dispensable. Meaning then they hit hardship. And remember, I was like the other day, I was like, I don't know what it takes for a person to fall. So the message in February starts going into the people being dispensable, either being, what's the word? Basically, worthy to be a part of, we can say, the upper class, the elitist class, well-to-do, or just the comfortable that can pay their bills and live a normal lifestyle. And so they don't want to lose that. They are, remember, in January, say, it's the cleverness of mind. They trick their own self to not care, to not look at others suffering. Talking about them same people. It's saying they going to be busy doing their jobs, meaning they going to push the buttons. They going to evict. They going to execute whatever the duty is their job description gives them, because they don't want to be in the same boat as other people. So they're going to do that. And other folks that the organization, y'all ain't going to do nothing to see it. And then there was this thing right here, that those people that are empowered, that put the various policies in place and reorganize the constructs and to redefine them and how they function and give out the budgets and all that kind of stuff and everything else they do to keep the system running. It said, even though each individual is after their own separate aims, they have come together to work together in order to execute this plan, this agenda, to have it fulfilled and in motion. And remember, karmics can't stop. It said, but to just the individual, see, it's like, what's up that person's sleeve? That person has something up their sleeve. That was what's interesting to me, because I even got a little image, because I was ready to, I'm going to talk about it again. What's up their sleeve? Because what is up their sleeve is about them satisfying their what? Own physical, worldly wants, needs, and or desires. Do you understand how many people we got sitting in seats of power that have a lascivious lifestyle, I'll say? Lascivious meaning they partaking in a little bit of everything or something, just like a poor person would. But yet, their main goal is to, they got something up their sleeve while it's going on, and it's about it benefiting them in the end. Benefiting them in the end. That's what it's about. Benefiting them in the end. And so I'm sitting up here, one of the vulnerable citizens of this here United States, and I don't know what to do at this time. See, I personally, I got all these complaints and excuses now. This is an excuse. Is that I don't know what to do with myself. I've tried to start different businesses. I've been through college. It seems like something in the ethereal realm doesn't really want to promote me. And then at other times, my life is saved. It don't make no sense. How am I not uplifted and upheld and able to find stability in this world, financial stability at all? But then my life is saved in different circumstances and situations. What they say, contradiction. And excuses. It's my excuse time. This is my life. This is my story. So, as I have attempted to be successful, to become an entrepreneur or do whatever else I'm going to do to try to get up on my feet, Not only am I dealing with the hatred around me for who I am, I can't be myself. I'm also not favored. When I talk about, I mean, anybody in business can tell you that people that get the business and the return clientele, they have favor. They are what is considered, and what's that word, y'all? A sociable or not sociable, likable or relatable. That's the word. They're very relatable people. And I asked y'all, what's relatable? I obviously missed that memo. They're very relatable. They're usually more attractive people. They may have a lot of social pull, maybe coming from and then you gotta also look at how a person was born into this realm and relates to this realm in their experiences. So some people have the it factor in different areas in this life. Like I know people that are Sagittariuses, and I know it's not for all Sagittariuses. I know they wish it was, but I know Sagittariuses that's lucky. I'm talking about Lady Luck. Ride with them. They don't lose. They pocket their bank account can't fall lower than a certain amount before Lady Luck said push it back up. For years. I'm telling you, remember, I was given the opportunity to rule over babies, little children, young adults, and old people. I know people of all ages. Of course, I have my peers, but that ain't who I could rule over or oversee. And I know a lot of older people, and some of them I known for some years. And it ain't a time that they, not all, I'm talking about these certain Sagittariuses, that they hit a plateau, bank account shoot up out of nowhere. You'd be like, well, where'd that come from? It would be supernatural, like, where'd that come from? All of a sudden something happened, where'd that come from? No worry. It's to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I ain't done. And over 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 again in their life. It's nothing to them. It's their norm. You know, when things are your norm, you take it for granted. And so they've gotten to the point, once they hit 70, 80, 90, they take it for granted. It's always been that way. See, everybody doesn't have that kind of favor. You get what I'm saying? I'm one of them. And so when I first started witnessing that, I was blown away. What am I experiencing? I was like, what am I experiencing here? This doesn't make any sense. It's not rational. What the heck? It was unbelievable. But it'd be something that a person have to experience to understand that it's a reality in our physical world. See, it's a lot of things we don't know that exist out here in this world. And then I'm sure, because this is a spectrum thing. Now, I don't think I've ever met anybody on the opposite end of the spectrum in that area of life. I would hate to. And they probably couldn't even be alive. But there has to be, because we live in a realm of duality. So there's always the opposite. So if I have sat with, broke bread, and been around certain people that luck is phenomenal, and their finances are not ever dropping below, like a fuel tank is not going to ever drop below 1/4, and 1/4 can carry them for some time. You know what I'm saying? And you'll never get down past that. Never. That there has to be somebody on the other side of that spectrum. Thank God I ain't there. I don't want to be there. That they never ever catch a break. That their bank account or resources never even get to the 1/4. Never. No matter what they do, no matter what works they do. Why is that? It's because how they relate to this realm when they were born in here. Some people say, well, they had to have done something in the past life, or they're living out a family curse. Maybe. I don't know about that. See, family curses to me are like the curses where the drugs were infiltrated and families, were devastated by them, and they had kids that were sickly or sold drugs or became again desensitized to others in the environment in the world, and they perpetuated that. That to me is a generational curse. Generational curses, cancer and diabetes being handed down in the genes and things like that, but not being able to get past 1/4 is not something that I think is a generational curse. Now, I do believe that it has something to do with how a person relates to this physical realm once they are here. So anyway, it's about what's up these people's sleeves, which is an interesting question that concerns me. What are up a person's sleeve? And remember, when I'm reading the stars, I primarily focus on the macro or global issues. But this also is on the micro level as well, or your intimate life. What's up somebody's sleeve? And so think about it from this way for a moment, if you will. What if, let's say hypothetically, case scenario, things do get tight and there is a greater financial or economic divide in this country of the United States primarily. And let's say family. Some family members, remember, they can be in different circles, like my own. Some family members are more well-to-do than others. And then there are those that just couldn't get it together for one reason or another, whether it was due to their indulgence in these physical worldly vices, or it was just their relationship with this realm just wasn't good. And they hit hard times. They're the ones that hit rock bottom, or began to, and they're suffering, hungry, starving, homeless, stinking, whatever. You gotta remember, we are spoiled rotten, so that will bother them, most of them anyway. But then there are the family members that, by the sweat of their brow, they made just enough money, they did the right investments, they got the right job, they push the buttons, they don't question the boss, they don't care what, as long as they get paid and they can sustain their comfortability in this life. Or they're just lucky because they relate to this realm in that kind of way. So this economic divide happens. What's up somebody's sleeve? Example, what about the family member that's hungry? They call and say, hey, fam, I'm hungry. We kind of did this with the last live stream. Can I get some food? Can you take me to the grocery store? Fam say, yeah, take them to the grocery store. But what they say, you can't feed a man fish or buy him some fish or give him some fish, but don't teach him how to fish. And so we're in a place where, in a time period where a person can't teach you how to fish. You ain't got time to fish. It's time to eat. And so the family member called back like, hey fam, I'm hungry, me and my family hungry again. Fam say, and we say, they should have a right to say this. This is the realm we live in. Like, hey, I just bought you food last week or last month. I can't help you no more. Can't help you no more. Hey, can you at least give me some bologna? No, I can't have more. Well, hey, cuz, can you take me around to the food banks to get some food while I work every day? All right then, fam. We just using our imagination. Person hang up. They go through a few days of hunger. They out, jacking somebody. Or, what's up their sleeve? They go to fam house and hit fam up. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the kind of things that I'm seeing. Again, I'm personally irritated and frustrated with constantly seeing negative messages in the tarot as well as the astrology. But if I'm doing it right, which I think that I am, I really do. I give myself an A, not for effort, but for work. Then I'm moving forward in integrity. Only time will tell, huh? Time will tell. And then this is my thing. While we're here, and I'm going to let y'all go, because I know I've been rambling for a while. But those people that have to go to work, and they work and make enough money to sustain themselves barely, but they got a roof over their head, a bed to sleep in, they can turn the cable TV on, and they water, whatever, have some food. And if things get a little tight for them, they just turn the cable off and then turn something else off, mediocre stuff, more entertainment, or what they call it, luxury things. And then just get them turned back on when they kind of get ahead. They run a vicious cycle of just trying to stay ahead. These people that are going to be turning their heads to people suffering, family, friends, neighbors, whoever. What's going on? I wonder. Why am I talking about this? Because I'm wondering what's really taking place in the spirit realm. In the spirit realm, does the spirit exist? Again, I say that again because I talked about it earlier. That's something that could cause a dissociative experience in a person, meaning really getting detached from self. But the soul has to exist. There has to be something that exists greater and more lasting and enduring than this physical body. I always say that because we see that when a person dies. And when they born, and come in the world and doctor slap them, then all of a sudden they breathing and talking or yapping or crying or whatever, and hungry and shitting and pissing. Oh, but they make it. And then when the day comes for them to leave, the last breath is taken, or the last inhale, whatever they do, it's taken, and it's over. So that energy that animated that person, that part, right there, what's happening to that? To the people that are suffering, but my focus is on the people that will choose to turn a blind eye because of their own fear, their own need to survive. And I understand that. That's what's so deep about it. Nobody wants to be tormented and tortured by a spirit that you can't see, like hunger or hot or cold. These are some of the, and I think it's in the book of Apocryphon, the book of John. We started reading when I was reading the book of John, but it don't seem like enough people were interested in reading in that. But it talks about, I think it's the first lights that were ever created. And the lights are, if I'm not mistaken, that there were lights, or either icons or lights, can't remember, one or the other. But it is hot and cold, and these things torture and torment us if we can't offset them. If we can't put a good coat on that deals with sub-zero temperatures, you can freeze to death. It hurts. Have you ever been cold? Have you ever had frostbite? Or hot. If you don't if you live like in a place like Arizona and do not have air conditioning, you would surely fry to death. You know what I'm saying? So it torments us. It hurts. It tears us apart. It breaks us apart slowly. It won't just usually kill us down and outright. It takes its time. Fine, slow, and sensuously, it destroys the physical vessel. So nobody wants that. I often talk about hunger. Nobody want to go hungry. A lot of people, I do believe, don't even have any idea what it is to be hungry. I think a lot of, the population in the United States, not all, but a majority, have never ever really got to the point of hunger, and even less to the state of starvation. You don't know what it consists of. And I'm telling you that what freaked me out for real when I was doing my research on that, when I started hearing about all that stuff from whomever, is that when I researched and found out it only takes 3 weeks to begin to starve to death or to starve to death, I was like, that got real serious for me. 3 weeks. The government was shut down for at least 3 weeks, if I ain't mistaken. Maybe longer? I'm not sure. And had they shut down again and shut down the rest of the departments, it'd have been a lot of people that didn't eat for 3 weeks. We're just that vulnerable. And let me stop before I end. I don't want to incite fear in anyone. I just want to deal with the reality. And these are the realities of our world, whether they're in your immediate environment or not, whether you experience it or not. There is somebody in this world experiencing it. I am testifying to it. I have been a witness to it. And what I'm saying is, because there is someone that can testify to certain ills in this world, trust me. Trust what I say. It is so. And it does not, because it's not in your environment or it's not in your immediate world, it does not exempt you from having a shared interest in trying to do something about it. Trying to do something about it. Because I can go even deeper about how eventually it will creep up. This part of life that I'm talking about will creep up and wipe every living being out eventually. Well, we know that happens anyway. But I'm talking about from a more darker place. And again, I'm not trying to incite fear or disassociativeness or depression in anybody. But I'm saying, hey, we really need to wake up and see what we're dealing with. See the reality and understand that we're making this place a living hell. Either we make it a living hell, either we'll make it a living hell. And either we're the one being tortured and tormented, or we're the torturer and tormentor. And guess what? We can do something about it. We can create heaven on this earth if we push, my fingernail roll, push the envelope. And we make those people in seats of power do what is right by the people. By the people. What people? All 7.5 plus billion people in the world. Will we all like each other? Probably not. But, and I mean, then it's this thing. And I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to let you go. This is all the stuff that's been on my mind. This is an Aquarius Rant. As remember I was saying, for some reason we can't be happy. We won't be happy. We can't work together, strive together, celebrate, and rejoice. No, that's not what we do. We hateful. We hateful. We vengeful. And is it because of all of these fabulous options and choices we have? It was this movie. Oh, what was the name of this movie? I don't know, but it was the utopia that was created. Every movie I see where a utopia is created is usually wiped out of varieties, options, like even in fashion. Everybody with this white plain jumpsuit or this gray plain jumpsuit. Is that what we need? Not to have options like to compare by. Like when I was in high school, everybody was wearing Jordans, $200-$300 gym shoes, and they would wear Gucci's. And this was a crazy thing. Gucci said they didn't even make a gym shoe back then, but you could still go out to the big malls and get them, and people was killing each other. But my whole point is that some people had it where they, however they got it, was wearing the high-end expensive gym shoes, and then there was other folks wearing Payless. I was one of the ones who would pay less. But for me, like I said, my life been kind of interesting. I had an option. I chose to pay less. I told you, my kid's father, I would drive him nuts. You won't never wear it. I just didn't never want to spend money on it. Even when I was younger, I would go to Payless and be as happy. And my mom and them would make me go. I get a pair of Rockports. I done talked about it or whatever. They were like, you want? Nope. And I'm happy I didn't. Again, people was killing each other over that stuff. They was killing each other over everything. Maybe we don't need those things. Maybe we don't. I mean, life might be a little less. Might be quite a bit boring. Just like I was saying, what we supposed to eat. Maybe if I can't eat a Kit Kat and some Fritos, My diet gonna be bland. I'm gonna be bored. But at least I ain't gonna be eating nothing that's unhealthy for me. Ain't that something? Maybe we don't need no variety of gym shoes and clothes and hairstyles. Maybe we just supposed to be, in order to, stay righteous, bland. Hi, Dwight. How are you? Thank you for dropping by here to Can Angels Fly, Tarot and More. My name is Nancy. It's nice to meet you. I just been doing an Aquarius rant because I feel like crying. Everything in this world has got on my nerves. Everything, And it was the thing about the judgment. I'm very judgmental. But, I was supposed to talk about that when I did that live yesterday or day before, when I was showing the people and the spirits that back them. I apologize for not being able to do a better job. Because if I could show you what some of the things that I see, it was no way. I would be sitting here trying to sketch and remember, and I'll probably be crazy and crying to just even reflect upon things that I've seen and encountered and experienced. So I did the best I could using Google and what it had to offer to show the spirits that dwell within people. And when I was, receiving the message about those spirits, I kept telling y'all I was going to try to introduce y'all to some of the spirits I knew eventually. I said it a few years ago, finally got to it. Okay, and we dealt with the astrological energies for January. But it was the judgment. We are living in a realm and during a time period where everybody's super sensitive about everything. That's another annoying thing. Super sensitive about everything, and most of it is about nonsense. Now I can see he's being super sensitive about real things, but not about I ain't even gonna go into, we know we also super sensitive. It's just insane and biased and foolish divisions. Anywho, till we can't, it's like our system has taught us not to use judgment, to be afraid to judge, to use judgment, which is also a state of discernment, a discernment. We can say judgment is a negative expression, being harsh and critical, but discernment is actually being honest with yourself about what you're seeing and accepting what you see and understand what is the potential from dealing with whatever you are seeing and or experiencing. If you see the spirit of anger, you know what to expect. You know what to expect. That's discernment. It is also judgment. And so depending on whatever spirit you may encounter, you got to judge it for your own safety. Like, for instance, what if you picked up on a person's, had a spirit of a murderous spirit? Say, I ain't going to judge them because that's not politically correct. That ain't socially correct. But this mother sucker said, see, this is why the folk getting snatched up. I almost did it again. They're getting snatched up because they're too busy being preoccupied with nonsense rather than judging or practicing the gift of discerning and seeing that this mother sucker eyes is empty. Certain things carry certain looks. This mother sucker's eyes is empty and he got a butcher knife in his hand. I think I shouldn't be here. Discernment. And get the hell on. See, I ain't gonna make it. I didn't make it. I did. Me and my lips. I'm trying. I'm gonna get a jar. I'm gonna get a jar. Oh Lord, I drink my water first. It's like, you say, where am I to treat it? I might need that for my lips. Where you going with that? Because I thought I was gonna be crying. It's not. Give me that. I need that. I do. When I cry, my nose get stopped up and my lips get dry. So the title parent doesn't mean they were loving. Not at all. Parents are treated how they treat their babies. Sometimes. That's funny. My best friend's mom was cool because she would give of liquor at 14. She would give y'all liquor at 14. See, it depends on who is who and what they do. You say, good. I think when my Therapist invited me to live with her. What? Which saved me on many levels. Really? We were both old souls, not tripping on the therapist rules. Oh, okay. Well, that's all worked out. That's a good thing. Brothers been to rehab twice and went back to the same environment. That's what they said. They can't go back to the same environment. They cannot have the same friends, or they just do what? Backslide, fall off the wagon, however label it. That the same spirit waiting on. It's the same spirit, and that's another thing. People think that. I mean, there are a lot of spirits, but like for instance, the spirit of anger. It's not like if I'm angry and you angry, we got two different spirits of anger. No, it's the same entity. We talking about a spiritual being. So the spirit of anger, out of 7.5 billion people in the world, how many people deal with the spirit of anger? It's the same energy. It's the same entity. It's only one. It's just within all that receive it. Our identity, ATOs, American descendants of slavery. We better get together and do something. What do you mean a spiritual being? Well, Yanni, you really watch my work. I made a couple of videos about how to develop a colossal spiritual being. One reason why we're losing, when I say we, I'm talking about society now and different cultures are losing, is because we are trying to do battle with spiritual beings, and we're in the physical. We're also individual people that are very vulnerable. In order to build a spiritual being, it takes members, people, to come together, like ADOS, that's why I give an example, for a primary cause. It's called large network, a large network. And you come together and you pool all of your resources. When you have all of these people, thousands or hundreds of thousands of people come together for one central goal, this is what they do in politics, and this is their spiritual being. All of the people come, all the members come. You bring what you bring. What do? I know you did graphics or whatever you bring that. And in that large social network, there's a graphics team. But it's all for one cause. I might be a person that read the stars. Well, I'll come together in that same organization, and I sit with people that read the stars and philosophize and study philosophies and social science and things like that. And then we meet together once we get all our information, and we lay a plan out in a blueprint. And then we put that plan and blueprint into motion with our money and our actions and our power. All the attorneys that are interested in claiming that they're African descendants of slavery, ADOS. You're an attorney, you come together or come to this same organization. All the attorneys work together because there might be different legal issues or concerns that ADOS has to deal with in relationship to our system. And so the attorneys themselves would be over dividing who does what, who's a master in what. In astrology, who does what, who's a master in what, but we're all working together, maybe doing little sectors, but we're all working as a group. Once everybody get their stuff together, you pull all of those resources, you lay the blueprint, and you start animating it. See, we are the puppeteers to the colossal spiritual being that we can create. And what I'm saying is that the majority of humanity, the common laymen and women, are doing battle with spiritual beings. Think about your government, etc., etc. Think about racism, which is a minor. Racism is a minor, an older spiritual being. But our government system is a colossal being, as it encapsulates within the world governmental system. Encapsulates every being here on the face of this earth, which is 7.5 plus billion people, all puppeteering and animating the super colossal being that is, guess what, consuming us. How is it consuming us? Because we're the ones animating it, and it's feeding off of us. Every time we make a dollar, it takes it back. It's the same system. And so that's why we can't win. That's why I talk about the LBGT community, however it's labeled, how they have successfully, whether they know it or not, created a significant size spiritual being that is doing battle for them. Everybody that is under that, what do they call it, label or whatever, are coming together for a common cause. They coming together for their rights. They pulling their money, they influence, they social power, and they skills, and they focusing it. And what they tell the government, we want to be able to use whatever restroom we want, or however it was, or whatever they, whatever, what do they call it, platforms, what do they call it, platforms they have put, petitions they have put before them. And some of them they got rolling. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're missing. And we cannot unify and create this colossal spiritual being because we who, referring to black people, because we're talking about ADOS now, are some selfish, individualistic, narcissistic, self-centered, and self-serving people. Are we the only people like that? The answer is no. But we are a people that are about dead. What is it? We almost extinct. Literally. We are extinct on basically a spiritual level. And if you extinct on a spiritual level, it won't be long before you extinct in the physical. So, now Martin Luther King was a person, pay attention, people talk about him and his indiscretions and affairs, but he had the power and the charisma and whatever backing he had. And he got all of the people that he could possibly get nationwide to work toward a common cause. He built a spiritual colossal being. And the people were subordinate. They put him in that position of power and allow him to lead them. They allow him to be the head. And so everybody else puppeteered the machine. How did they puppeteer the machine? With strikes. Not going getting on the bus with boycotts, sit-ins. Is that the way to do it? Maybe not now, but this is what I'm saying. This is what that spiritual being was doing. This stuff was happening nationwide. You know what I'm saying? And it all was headed by one man and his staff, organizing all of these people. See, most of us don't understand, like our government or the president or what it means to be a king or a queen. They are in seats of leadership or of God. What their role was supposed to be, if they moved in righteousness, was to stand over all of humanity, because there are 7.5 billion plus people in the world, and manage every single department and construct in this world to make sure that all the natural, that everybody, 7.5 plus billion people, at least now, or a few years ago, that all the life-sustaining natural resources were evenly distributed amongst all the people. That's all they were there to do. That's it. And they seized power because we lost our spiritual power. That's what it means to have spiritual power. And so they sit over there and they look down on us. That's why I referred y'all to that movie, Who is John Gotti, or something. What was it called? Atlas or some Atlas Strutter. It kind of shows you what I'm talking about. And so now they sitting over the world like gods, and they're like, these motherfuckers stupid. They don't even know what's going on. So I'm gonna have them do all the work. Puppeteer. And we be okay. And we gonna be okay. We ain't got to do nothing else. And then afterwards, see, and the other thing that's occurring is that a 7.5 plus billion people are a lot of people to feed, to house, to clothe, and whatever else we need. That's a lot, and a lot of waste. And in order to manage all of that, everybody has to play their role, and everybody got to do their work. So, remember those Georgia Guidestones or something where they said the world's population shouldn't exceed so many people, whatever it is? It's referring to this, management of the planet. Management of the planet. Now, it is easier to extinguish a large portion of the population so that we don't have to keep excavating earth and pulling more resources and making more clothes. We already got way too many. That's capitalism and all that marketing and garments and all that kind of stuff. Abuse of the system. See, it's been being abused, but we didn't see it, and we perpetuated with wanting designer and things and opening up shops and all wanting to be entrepreneurs and all that kind of stuff. See, we're not looking at that, and so it is easier for the powers to be to begin to extinguish the people so they don't have to house them. So they ain't got to feed them. So they ain't got to keep trying to manage and organize them and get people to go to work when they know people's sick. People are sick from when they were drilling and stuff wasting and spilling and blowing up. They know people sick and can't work or whatever the case is. They know it. Now the thing of it is, it's really not about money. Paper money is not real. It's real enough. I can use some. But the reality is, see, we're far removed from what really matters. And what matters, y'all, what's the answer? Always go back to the answer. It is those resources in this earth that sustain our life. From what? Those ions or lights or whatever it was that protect us from the hot, the cold, being wet, or too dry. I can't even think of the rest of them. Is they up here? There's hot, wetness, cold, dry. It's like form. I can't see the rest. It's too small. But those are the primary archons or lights. I think it's the lights. I think they're lights. And I'm referring to the book of Enoch in the Apocryphon, which is an Apocryphon. You can read it. Take time to break it down. And so, I forgot to say it. And so nothing matters as far as money. Money is a means in order to help distribute. Somebody figured like, oh, well, it's easier to give people money and they could buy into the portion that they need to sustain themselves and those up under their care. To buy into those natural resources, what do you buy with your money? You buy medicine, to help you feel better, to heal something. You buy some clothes, some shoes to make sure to keep wounds from your feet and to cover your nudity or your, what they call this, your shame. Also to protect you from the weather and the elements, right? Or you may, technology has advanced. You give your money over to buy an air conditioner or a central unit. Why? Because if it's too goddamn hot, you're going to fall out. Or you do what? You pay the utility company to give you some heat. How do they make the heat? They use natural coal. Ain't that's what they arguing about? So what really mattered, we could remove literally the money if they were going to be fair and move in integrity and distribute all the natural resources evenly to every human in this world. Because all we need to do is make sure that there are those that go to mine what? The coal, natural resources that we need, or to fish, We are committing a sin, I do agree, against this life. Whatever this is, something is wrong that we got to eat something else that's trying to survive here. But it is what it is. It is survival of the fittest. It really is. So, we need people to still go fish. But you mean to tell me, even though you know that now, at least, you need money to go make you fish and to take it to a distributor, to distribute it to 7.5 billion people in the world? You need $1 for that? No. You get up and say, okay, this is the season for fishing. Who my fishing buddies? Let's go out here and fish and get these fish that we need to sustain us through whatever period. It's the same schedule. You just don't get the money. Instead of getting the money, you just get your portion of whatever. It's no reason to have all of these clothing stores worldwide, nationwide. Why can't we have so many clothes produced, maybe every year, a couple of pieces? Think about them people that was back in the day in the 1800s. How many outfits do you think they had? I'm not saying we got to be that dusted now. We didn't advance. We didn't advance the technology and our ability to figure out the clues here in this world and put it together and get it to work for us and in our favor. It's supposed to benefit us. But what we're doing when we discover such things, we are killing each other. We are destroying each other. They're setting off nuclear bombs, Holocaust this, shooting up that, stabbing this. Rather than taking that nuclear power and transferring it or directing it in a way that helps to warm homes or something like that. I'm not a scientist. That's why we need a colossal spiritual being. And a part of that colossal spiritual being are scientists and researchers and things, all for a common goal or purpose. That's how our government's set up, you know? And so that's the only way we can come back. That it's just that deep. Or eventually, I do believe that we're going to destroy ourselves. Do I believe it will be soon? No, I don't. I think it takes time for us to, because we can't see what's happening. Well, I talked about this before. The progress of change is so slow, you can't see it. And so even us being where we are now, where people don't even know they're demonic in their nature, is something that people can't see. They didn't see it coming. They did not see it coming for nothing. But it's here. And I was saying the other day in the live, right now, as we live, or as soon as when we move over that threshold into 2020, and these things that I've been talking about begin to take place, the people that turn their head, are helping to create the future. See, they're going to turn their head on a lot of people. And a lot of people, I hope it don't go crazy, ridiculous. I hope it's so slow that we can't see change. Because if it's drastic, that's going to be a whole nother experience. But I can't say we ain't had drastic experiences in this world, because we hear about Hitler and the Holocaust and the slavery. It's possible. But even then, in that time period, in space, in that moment, was it still progression so slow that you couldn't see the change? And that's dangerous. So you got to understand what you're dealing with, the frequency that we're creating and riding into the future, because we can't see it. And so here we're creating our future. And if we got a bunch of people that are scared to speak up for those that are suffering for their own betterment, what do you think that is contributing into our future? Really? Children starving or hungry, uneducated, unable to fight the system. Let me give you an example. Talk about something. Remember I talk about my mom and her fabulous dining room table and all of the papers where she was going against every construct there was. It was amazing. It was mad. And then I inherited that. Me and my brother. Same thing. It's crazy. If I could show y'all the bins of papers I have, and my battle is not as extensive as my mom's. Meaning I'm not fighting with every construct. It almost seems like she was, right? So, hey, where was I about to go? So my mom was fighting with all these constructs. She knew how. That's my point. She knew how. She was capable. The way many young folks are being educated, especially in the black communities, is restricting them from having the individual capability of fighting against these social structures, constructs, fighting against them. So there's a generation that is passing, like my generation, that is leaving. Maybe the last ones that understand how to fight against the construct. But you see, on an individual basis, we may have individual victories with things, but a lot of people don't know about these victories, but it's the whole system that needs to change. So even though I had the victorious over unjust, that's just one person. But the rest of them hundreds of thousands of people that had the exact same injustice imposed upon them may not know how to do battle, may not be able to afford an attorney, and so they lose, and the injustice continues. You know what I'm saying? Now, this younger generation, not all, but most, especially, I think, in the black community, the young folks are improperly educated. And they are being taught that it is okay to depend on technology. They don't even know how to probably go to the library anymore, use an index card, microfiche, and things like that. They don't know that, most of them. They don't know about, like I was just talking about, the natural resources are what sustain our lives, not true religion, not the grocery store. You know, they don't know these things. It's taken for granted, so it's not their fault. It is the older generation, my generation, and the one before that was responsible for teaching them this. In the black community, we didn't do it. Why? Because a large percentage of our people were consumed with drugs and alcohol. They were preoccupied. Are we mad at them? No, they were only human. But here we are at the brink of the age of Aquarius, where we are awakening. This is our opportunity to speak up, to teach. But will the young people even listen to us anymore? They got the Scorpio generation. You know, the generation was generational planets or something like that. The Scorpio generation. This is the generation of young folks that came up as like the some of them the kids, and then the grandkids and the great grandkids of them people that were strung out on dope and alcohol. This is a national issue. Just say no, the drugs did not work. And these kids came up seeing firsthand niggas murdered in the street. I seen people murdered in the street, walking down the street over some material stuff. See, when I first came up in my early years, I never seen nothing like that. I told you I could lay out on my porch in the summer. We'd be outside on the porch listening to music and having a TV and eating, and I was a little fat thing outside enjoying myself, hollering across, because we all had to go on the porch when the street lights came on. Come on, get on the porch. You hollering, hey, what you doing? John boy down there. Then in 1980, first crackheads come wobbling up to the, can I use your telephone? What the fuck? See, I ain't gonna make it. Getting passionate. I'm about to end this last dream. My mama told me to come in the house. And that was the last time I was able to go outside on that porch during the summer. Not just me, but all my peers. And it never went back. And so, what am I saying? I'm saying that this generation of kids that came up, last couple of generations, all they saw were their parents, either was the child themselves or peer that they experienced through or witnessed through. That these parents was running all the food out the house to go do what? Buy dope. They were not getting school. I got new school clothes every year. New summer clothes every summer. These kids didn't even have clothes. I went to school with kids that didn't have coats. Shoes busted. These young people were embarrassed. They were humiliated. So they started slinging the dope. Got to the point, well, at least I can keep my parents home. This is the truth about our reality that we want to ignore. And it is also disappearing and fading away from the storyline of, well, at least this United States. So the young people is not looking at it. They don't have that point of reference. Some of them know it, the real young ones, but some of them don't. But there is a generation that has looked death in the eye when they was real young. They didn't look starvation. These spirits I'm talking about, you don't want to meet most of them. Some of them already know what it is to almost starve to death. Starve to death. To be taken out of their home and put in foster care systems only to be abused, sexually molested. I sat on a case back in the day where a foster child was molested, a little girl, by an older cat. These are the realities of our world. I'm an empath. So it bothers me. And I walk around now and it's nothing to nobody. I feel something's wrong with me. I feel like a crybaby. There's something wrong with me. I don't know. I don't know. Is everybody okay? They okay? Yes. Guess it's okay. Maybe I'm having a disassociative moment. Maybe this ain't even real. Can't be real. Can't be real. But I know that young man that sat at my table for years and told me his stories. Crying. You know, young men don't cry. Put his pistol on the table, sit back, smoke a couple of blunts. He's tell it all. We'll eat, not cook. And we cried, we prayed. And the things he told me, he was just one. And it was many. I met young folks that had been molested, and their sexual preference was that for the same sex, possibly due to what had occurred to them, the violation. They sit, talk, and they tell it all. These kids wanted somebody to talk to, but they didn't know who to trust. And so, like I said, I was forced to be a mom in life. There's deep stories overall. And so I carry a spirit that maybe I, again, don't even know, but other people know. And these people tell me their business. All their family business and so much more. And for some reason feel safe. Have I ever been able to really help anybody? I don't think so. I don't know. Some people I lost touch with. Others died. Others moved away. But I guess it was just a moment in time, part of their maybe journey. Maybe they had to heal that part or deal with or hear them say it out loud, in order to move on to the next stage of life where it was probably equally as messed up. But these are our realities. I don't know why I'm fussing. I just got down today, All this stuff be bothering me. I wish I didn't care. That would be nice not to care. It would be nice not to care. It would be nice, really, really not to care. And then the whole thing of it, y'all, I'm going to let y'all go. But I'm so upset. Is that, y'all know I got 5 kids. And they're all adults now. And so having 5 kids also bought more kids. But these are their peers. So every day, as a single mom, I worry about losing my kids. Because the devil comes sit beside you, slide right up on you. At any stage in your life, he still be trying to slide up on me. And I'll push him on away. But one day I could just be just as weak and fall for one of his tricks. And if I can confess to that at the age that I am, then I know a young person, is really vulnerable. And a lot of people, I hear people like in a religious institution, churches and stuff, talk about don't give the devil power. Don't give him power. I understand. Don't give him power. Don't give him power mean when he suggests you do something or introduce something to you, don't partake in it. But to say don't give the devil power, meaning don't talk about him, to let other people know that that entity is real. Now, is that entity name really devil or Satan? I don't know. I was taught that in this world. But I do know it's a dark, malevolent energy that will slide up on you and suggest you do something, you partake in something. He will offer it to you as if it's the answer to your ailments, your sadness, your pain. And it'll be the same thing that destroy you. That I do know. So, and the church people say, don't give Satan, don't give them energy. I give them all of that type of energy. I'm going to put them on blast because anybody that mess with me know it's real. And that's another thing that I learned. A lot of the young people that came, a lot of people, period, that came my way, these are things, I don't know if it's just in the black community. I think it's wider than that. I think certain cultures deal with entities. Like in India, I think because Vedic astrology, they talk about the different gunas and different things like that. So I think and you hear about, what's her name? Its name, Vishnu, the destroyer creator. So they talk about these deities or personify these deities. We all cultures do. But why do you think these cultures created these deities or these personifications for the fun of it? No, they did not. They are trying, like I did that live stream the other day, showing the spirit within people. I told you I did the best I could do what Google offered me to show you the spirit that dwells within people, the part that you can't see, a real entity. The people that create these, that created Satan and Vishnu, they're trying to give you the best personification they can about an entity that does exist. But in certain cultures, primarily African American, black culture, whatever you want to say, I am a part of that. So if you get mad, so I speak on that. We don't deal with that. The church doesn't deal with that. But in my experiences, the people that spoke to me, they had them experiences. This was nobody to talk to. See, a lot of times, you know, when my kids will be kicking it with their peers, and their peers might say something awful strange to them, probably because my kids will say something wacky, and their friends say, "Can I talk to your mama?" "Yeah, come on over." Every time I turn around, somebody coming over here. It's a slow down now, but every time. And what it was about is that, yeah, my kids probably said something quirky or weird or something out of the way in their private conversation, like, y'all talk about that kind of stuff in your house? That's what it'd be about. And they would want to come over here and talk about the spirit realm and the entities and the demons and the beast that they encountered in their lives. The ones that haunted them in their waking time, the ones that haunted them in their dream realm, the ones they could feel pulsating in their bodies, that nobody would talk to them about. Some of them, most of them, I was the first person to ever talk to them about those things. Real. But the reality is, some of these children were older. Well, it's always been, but I'll say older when they get about 12, 13, 14, and they've already been hurt. They've already been damaged. And I talk about when it's about healing. Something about this experience here, the healing has to go so deep. I think healing probably takes a lifetime, really. I told you when I was going through my physical therapy, I was like, shit, I walked into the behavioral therapy. I was like, well, I'm getting my body work on, I might get my mind worked on. Because the pain of our torture and torment of different types, whether it's heartbreak, it goes deep. And you hear me talk about this down into the psyche, into the subconscious, into the state of your soul. It go deep. And it's like it can stay an open wound. If you're a person that jumped from relationship to relationship trying to find love, that wound is constantly dug out, stabbed up, you know, and it's pussing and it's bleeding and it smells. Either you get help or it'll end up being gangrene, poisoning you, where you can't trust, you hateful, you know, or you just completely off your rocker, chasing somebody, you know, laying with everybody. And I'm not per se judging anybody, but we do use the gift of discernment over here on my channel. And so what am I saying? The gift of discernment here allows you to see you must take care of yourself, your whole soul, your body, and your spirit. Are we perfect? Am I perfect? The answer is no. Because Lord knows I'll tear up a chicken wing in a hot minute. And maybe I shouldn't. But I try. I try to love on me and care for me. Get in the mirror and pep talk myself and love me. And I talk to my soul, my spirit. I talk to them demons like I talk to y'all and everything else. And my mind, you see what I do. I love Sudoku and different things like that to try to keep my mind active and strong. It's been times that failed me too. One of my greatest fears. Y'all know two of my greatest fears now. To choke to death and for my mind to go. But I try to, you know, keep my mind active and what they call it, agile or something like that. Is it going to work forever? I don't know. But right now, that's what I'm doing. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about really loving on yourself. Body, mind, and soul. And healing. Because when we wounded deep inside, we push that into the world. Hatred, fear. Like a lot of these robberies and things that happen around here, stick-ups and different things, you know, we hear about, are coming from wounded people. One way or another, they wounded. Either they want to live their best life, and for some reason they can't make it happen. Maybe the odds were really against them. Maybe, you know, maybe they just didn't have the intellectual capacity to satisfy the demands of this world and this construct to make enough money to live their best life. So the question emerges is like, well, who is everybody else that they get to live their best life? I'm going to do what I got to do. If I can't get it the way you told me to get it, then I get it the best way I know how. But before that happened, what I'm saying is that person was hurt. They probably felt bad about themselves or down about themselves one way or another. And they remedied it And they did what they got to do and will continue to do so. And so it's up to us to change the frequency of the world. So y'all, I'm going to let y'all go because I got to cussing and fussing and about to be in the tears. I'm just really getting along with it, y'all. What they say? Namaste. You let's see. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Evolutions Through Tarot. What's going on? Happy holidays to y'all. I should have said that. Love you. Happy holidays to you. I wish you many blessings and abundance and all that, healing, all that good stuff. Make sure you throw me some of that too. Hi, Terry. He says, wow, ain't that it, Miss Nancy? We know we are not a horrible person. It's others who can't handle our mindset. I feel that whoever deny me and talking behind my back, behind the scenes, just shit they don't like. Let's show that. Good night, y'all. Rest well. What time is it, y'all? Oh, yeah, go to sleep, y'all. Go to bed. It's time for old people to go to bed.